week. The 1-2 pitch.
We got a game.
Seattle Mariners versus the Anaheim Angels.
When the season began, it looked like another year of domination by Seattle in the American League West. By late April, the Angels were already 10.5 games behind. But with the offense getting hot and Jarrod Washburn winning 11 straight decisions, the Angels have since gone 51-25 and are now just 2 games back of Seattle in the West.
Look out, here they come, here they come, here they come.
After crushing the Mariners 15-3 on Friday, the Angels got dramatic late-inning homers from Troy Gloss and then Scott Spezio last night. Now Washburn looks to complete the sweep.
Where we at?
Edison Field, Anaheim.
John Miller with Joe Morgan.
13 years of the Johnny and Joe show. Just to let you know the Hall of Fame flow. Get ready when you hear Miller and Morgan speak. It's the Sunday night baseball game of the week. The big game. Between the lines, the pastime. No quarters, no clocks, no halftime. We're going 9. Unbelievable.
Mariners, Angels, serious business.
And he is out. From Anaheim on a beautiful night, Nextel presents ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Tonight, 10-game winner Joel Pineiro takes the hill for the Mariners, and Jarrod Washburn goes for his 12th straight win for the Angels. It's Washburn facing Ichiro and the Mariners when we come back on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, the game of the week.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week, presented by Nextel. Nextel, how business gets done. Now in their 13th season as hosts of the Sunday Night Game of the Week, John Miller and Joe Morgan.
It is a beautiful night for a ball game. Temperatures in the low 70s, and the Anaheim Angels taking the field now as they go for a sweep. The mighty Mariners, the team that won 116 last year, but is involved in a 3-team battle right now in the American League West. Oakland has lost its game in extra innings against Texas just a few moments ago, so they're 2.5 out at the moment. And the Angels know with a win and a sweep here, they would be only 1 game back of the Mariners in the West. The Nextel batting order: Ichiro, the league's leading hitter, leading it off in right field. Then Jeff Cirillo at third, Brett Boone at second, Edgar Martinez back in the line at the DH, John Olerud at first, Ruben Sierra in left, Mike Cameron in center, Dan Wilson the catcher, and Desi Relaford is the shortstop. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, and welcome to Sunday Night Baseball. Now, last year, the Mariners were not tested, not in the regular season anyway, and not by the Angels, not ever. They had won 12 straight games in this ballpark from the Angels. So the Angels came in here. They won the first 2 games. They've been red hot for 2 months, and now they have a chance for a sweep. And in a few moments, Ichiro, who's hitting .462 against left-handers, will be up against a left-hander who has won 11 in a row, Jarrod Washburn, Joe.
Well, I think Jarrod Washburn has proved that he can dominate any team in this league. Right now, he's throwing the ball well, and he's the type of a guy that I think will bother Seattle, a guy that's throwing strikes, a lot of movement. Remember, this is not the same Seattle team that was here last year, just driving in runs, scoring runs every which way. They've got a few guys that are struggling, trying to get back on track, and it's not a good sign for them to have to get back on track against a guy like Jarrod Washburn. He's throwing great.
All right, Joe, and with the throw going down to second base, we're moments away from getting started, and you can play along with tonight's game. Just log on to ESPN.com right now for ESPN's new interactive baseball game. It's a whole new kind of fantasy baseball, and it is live right now at ESPN.com, keyword ETV. Jarrod Washburn 11-2, and he has established an Angels record for consecutive wins within a season. Chuck Finley once won 14 straight decisions, but over a 2-year period. So here is Ichiro, and he's right there swinging at that first fastball, and we'll see a lot of fastballs tonight from Jarrod Washburn, Joe.
Well, he throws a variety. Sometimes it tails in on a left-handed hitter, so other times it moves away, so he doesn't know exactly where it's going. He just knows he's going to get a lot of movement. And so far, Ichiro has swung at 2 pitches up and out of the strike zone.
Not an easy time of the afternoon for a hitter in the shadows. And Ichiro strikes out on 3 pitches.
Well, that pitch there looked like it was a cutter. It moved away, and that's what he says. He gets a lot of movement on his pitches. He just tries to throw it over the plate with a lot of movement. Now watch this pitch. It starts, they're trying to throw it inside. Look at it tail away and down. Great fastball there. And let's take a look at the defense behind Jarrod Washburn. Jose Molina is behind the plate. His brother Benji has always caught Washburn. This is his first time catching Washburn this year.
Benji Molina, the regular Angels catcher, on the disabled list with a hamstring problem. So his brother, younger brother, Jose Molina, takes over behind the plate. There's ball one to Jeff Cirillo. Wow. To strike out Ichiro on 3 pitches. Now that is a statement. The Angels have, some of them have made comments about making a statement here to the Mariners in this series to show that, hey, they're for real. They belong in this race. And now, after winning the first 2 games, Washburn makes his own little statement to Ichiro, who doesn't strike out much against anybody. He wears out the left-handers, and he strikes out on 3 pitches. 1-1 the count. And 2-1 now to Cirillo. Now Cirillo is in a terrible slump, and his average for the year is down to 235. Cirillo in the air to right center. There is Salmon, and that is out number 2. As we said, Washburn throws a lot of fastballs, and we talked to him about that yesterday.
Throw 4-seam fastball. I'll throw that probably 90% of the game, and once in a while it cuts, once in a while it sinks. I don't know which way it's going to go. It's just luck of the draw. I hope it moves one way or the other and not go straight.
That's unusual.
Sort of a humble assessment of his ace pitch as Brett Boone pulls a foul down the left field line. 0-1. But that's what he does. He throws mostly fastballs, but they usually move. Now we saw him on opening day, and he was not getting a lot of movement on opening day against the Cleveland Indians. Gave up 4 runs in the first inning, and I asked Mike Scioscia, his manager, about that. That cutting fastball misses up and in. 1 ball 1 strike. He said that day Washburn was just a little overexcited and was overthrowing and losing that movement.
Well,
there he changes up and gets a strike.
Guess what? Since then, 18 starts, he's only given up 1 run in the first inning since that time. So he did adjust.
Right back through the middle. Brett Boone with a base hit. Boone comes into this game with a batting average of .238. 14 homers, 59 batted in, though.
Well, let's see what this pitch does. It actually moves toward the middle of the plate. This one acts like a cutter. See, it starts outside, but you can see the movement. It starts to move toward Boone, and Boone rips it back through the middle for a base hit.
So there, the cutting action works against him.
Right, exactly. Well, he didn't know it was going to cut. He was throwing it towards the outside. If it's true that he doesn't know exactly where it's going or what it's going to do.
Yeah, and that's when you would have wanted some sink.
And to stay away.
Moving away. There's ball 1. High and outside to Edgar Martinez, the veteran. He's had a lot of problems with his hamstring. In fact, he had some surgery that has not been seen much in baseball. He had a tendon removed from his hamstring that had ruptured. Battling the shadows. The hitters are in the shadows. The pitcher is in sort of a lattice work type shadow being cast by the light tower. But that's the look from Mascan.
And the problem is, you see the spot. You can see the ball, light on it, and then dark. That makes it very difficult to pick up anything but the fastball. So I think that helps them against Jarrod Washburn because he throws more fastballs.
It's the ball just off the outside. 2-1 to Edgar Martinez. Edgar's only had 116 at bats this year. 4 homers, 17 driven in. I asked him if he's all right now. He says, yeah, he has no pain whatsoever, but he's still holding back a little bit. He maybe runs at about 90% because he's afraid of blowing it out again. He's had a lot of trouble with it the last couple of years. Well, they had to lean back out of the way of that fastball. 3-1 the countdown. Jarrod Washburn on the hill. There's Lou Piniella, the Mariners manager. 10th season with Seattle. That's hard to. It seems like he just got there, doesn't it? And he has really helped the Mariners establish something great up in Seattle. And he struck him out, or I beg your pardon, strike 2. Edgar chasing one to go to strike 2, and that was kind of odd because Edgar usually will take ball 4.
And that was ball 4, but it was more of a changeup, and I think he saw it so well he just wanted to hit it. It wasn't the good fastball. That was some type of an off-speed pitch.
Edgar, sorry I was striking you out there. You got one more. There goes Boone, and Edgar swings and lifts a fly ball to center. Erstad, plenty of room out there in the sunshine, and the inning is over. One hit, one left. Now Pineiro takes the hill against the Angels. Mariners nothing. The Angels coming up. Sunday Night Baseball from Anaheim. And now the Nextel batting order for the hometown Angels. They have been so hot, particularly the lineup. It'll be David Eckstein at shortstop, Darren Erstad at center. Big comeback here for him and for Tim Salmon, who is red hot. He had a 5-hit game here and a 3-run home run Friday. Garrett Anderson, the leading RBI man in left field. Troy Gloss, a huge 3-run homer last night that brought them from behind. Brad Fulmer, the DH. Scott Spezio had a game-winning homer last night at first. Adam Kennedy at second, and Jose Molina, the younger brother of Benji, the regular catcher, is doing the catching. And here is Joel Pineiro on the mound. And he is 10-4 with a 2.84 ERA. And this guy's got some pretty mean stuff, Joe.
Well, he got great stuff. And remember a couple of years ago when he first came up, Lou Piniella was telling me he's going to be great. Here you see his grip. It's a four-seam fastball. That's the one that kind of rides up. That's the power pitch. Two-seamer, that's the sinking fastball, the slider, the curve, and the changeup. So he has all the pitches.
And that curveball is, I mean, it's the hammer.
Yeah, it's special.
So here's Eckstein. And this guy, if you're with the Mariners or anybody else, he drives you nuts. Eckstein, 277, 360 on base average, but figures out a way to get on base. He's been hit by pitches 15 times, and you'll notice he is not armored like some of the guys who get hit a lot. Fastball. He comes straight over the top.
Well, the one thing you want to do is make sure that you don't have to face him with the bases loaded. His specialty is hitting with the bases loaded.
Yeah, he's been something. 3 grand slams. Fly ball to left. Coming in is Ruben Sierra. Found a little patch of sunshine there. Made the grab. Eckstein is retired. 1 away.
Well, the Mariners have always had a pretty good defense. And, of course, you know, Ichiro and Mike Cameron in center field both won Gold Gloves last year. Ichiro is one of the special outfielders in this game. I mean, he runs the ball down with great speed, has a great arm, and Cameron's very similar.
Ichiro out in the sun, and that would really be the Sun field right now.
Interesting question. I mean, about Ichiro. I mean, is he the most exciting player in the game? Because he can help, you know, he does it on the base pass, he does it at bats, and also defensively.
Well, to me, he is.
Yeah, very exciting. I think he's the most exciting guy.
I mean, it's exciting to see Barry Bonds, the way he could turn a game around, or Sammy Sosa. But, I mean, Ichiro is just raw excitement.
Right, that's one phase of the game. He specializes in all phases.
He's exciting when he's in the field. He's exciting just at the plate, just watching him and his approach at the plate. And whenever he makes contact, when he hits the ball to the ground,
it's exciting.
He's the most exciting in all of the game when he hits one about 50 feet. He did not even make contact against Washburn, though, in his first at bat tonight. So I think that was a pretty good indicator as to how tough it is right now for a hitter to see the ball.
Exactly, because he actually swung at all 3 pitches were out of the strike zone.
2-1 the count. And Erstad takes 2 high, 3-1. Darren Erstad last year was just a nightmare for him, and he has rebounded beautifully. A 300 average, 15 steals, gets 6 homers, 51 batted in. He's been going up and down the last 3 years. 3-2 the count now. Joel Pineiro back in 1997 went to a Mariners tryout camp in Miami. He was living in Florida at the time, but it was a terrible day, lots of heavy rain, so they canceled the tryout camp. And he asked them when the next tryout camp was going to be. They told him it was going to be over in Clearwater, so he drove across the state and went to that one. He said he just had such a desire to play ball. That's bounced right over him, and behind shortstop, the throw by Relaford, he got him. And Erstad can't believe it.
Excellent
and here
play.
comes Mike Socia.
Very close play at first base, with an excellent play behind the bag by Relaford. He got rid of the ball quickly. He could have taken another step, try to get a little more on the ball, but he got rid of it quickly, and he got the call at first base. Scioscia thinks, of course, differently, and he's letting the umpire know that.
Mike Victor, the first base umpire. Let's take a look.
Well, it's going to be a very close play. Now, here's what makes the play close. Watch how quickly Rutherford gets rid of the ball. Look at that. He doesn't take an extra step. I tell you, it's a very, very close play. But I see why they're arguing. I mean, it's very close.
Yeah. I mean, the ball's got to be in Olerud's glove before the foot hits the bag.
Right.
And I don't think so. 2 down, nobody on. Here's Tim Salmon. Salmon, another guy. I mean, his year made Erstad's year look good last year. I mean, it was a horrible year for Salmon. And he has really come back in a big way. And he got off to a slow start again this year. But they kept telling us that, hey, it's there. We saw it in spring training. The bat speed that you did not have last year is here.
Well, I think he had to relax. He was one of those guys who just so intense that he needed to relax.
Cameron over into left center. The ball carries a little bit. And the inning is over. Salmon with 13 RBIs more this year than he had all of last year. No score going to the second. Olerud coming up. Sunday Night Baseball. We're in Anaheim. No score after 1. Tonight's game and all Sunday Night Baseball games are broadcast on ESPN Radio and televised in Spanish throughout the United States on ESPN Deportes. Para más información sobre ESPN Deportes, llame a su operador de cable o visite espndeportes.com. And there is Roberto Clemente Jr. Luis Alfredo Alvarez with Roberto Clemente Jr. on ESPN Deportes tonight. And there's Buck Martinez back with ESPN, former Blue Jays manager, working with Dan Shulman tonight on ESPN Radio. And over there they're saying here's the 1-1 pitch. High, ball 2 from Jarrod Washburn to John Olerud. See, on television we don't have to say that. We don't have to say anything if we don't feel like it. You can already see it.
Well, I kind of like my job, John, so I'm going to talk every once in a while. So we don't talk, they don't need us here.
Shh. That's ridiculous. 2-2 the count to John Olerud.
Remember a few years ago they experimented with a football game without any announcers.
Oh, that was just a
terrible.
That was a
horrible
showboating, publicity grabbing thing. Caught and short by Eckstein. John Olerud hits into some bad luck there. Olerud is one of the Mariners who is, along with Ichiro, doing just about exactly what he did last year. But a lot of the other Mariner hitters are down from a year ago. The Seattle Ball Club last year seemed like everybody was having a good year all at the same time.
And that's how you set records. Everyone has almost having career years at the same time.
Ruben Sierra, the veteran. And first ball swinging against Washburn, and that one's going to go back out of play. Spezio had started over. Sierra, who resurrected his career last year, got back to the big leagues with Texas and did well. So well that the Mariners came calling when the season was over. He's hitting .294 for Seattle. 12 home runs, 54 driven in. No score in the game. Too high with a fastball from Washburn. Now Washburn, Joe, he's from a little town in Wisconsin called Webster. I'm just waiting for you to say, oh yeah, Webster, I've been there.
No, I was going to say,
I've spoken
Webster,
to the banquet
wasn't he
there.
that little guy on TV that time, little Webster?
No.
So it has to be a little town.
No, he's not from a TV star.
Oh, okay.
He's from a town called Webster.
I haven't been there, but tell me about Webster.
Haven't you been anywhere? 1-2 the count, and a foul tip. He just does stay alive. You know what the population of Webster is?
What is it?
623.
And they found a major league player in a population of town where the population is 623.
Yeah, he's the first one. That guy is definitely not from Webster. 1-2 pitch, and Sierra hits a high fly ball into left center. Erstad. And that is out number 2. Sierra gone. But he also, so you're saying you don't even know where Webster is?
No.
It's in Wisconsin.
Okay. I got that. But Wisconsin's a big state.
It's in the northwest part of the state.
Now I know.
We sent a whole crew just to do some research on where this place is.
Northwest. I got it now.
It's north of Eau Claire.
Okay.
And he went to a Division III school, Wisconsin Oshkosh. Into a fairly deep right field, and looking up into that harsh sunshine, Salmon grabs it. Cameron is retired. 3 up, 3 down. Jarrod Anderson coming up. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. Tonight we're in Southern California. The Angels and the Mariners no score after 1.5. And the views from high above Edison Field are courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Eagle, based in Carson, California. Goodyear built its first blimp in 1925 and currently operates 3 airships. I want to go on one, Joe, but I want to go across the Atlantic. I want to go from New York to England on one.
Okay. Don't send me a ticket. Just call me from there.
Come on, we'd have a great time.
No. I go that far, so I'm going on the Concorde.
Here's always in such a hurry.
Yes.
Come on, getting there is half the fun.
Yeah, but if I get there, I can enjoy the atmosphere of the town.
All right. Well, I'll leave a little bit before you do, and I'll meet you over there. Strike 1 to Jarrod Anderson. And Pineiro misses inside. You know, not that many guys come straight over the top like Pineiro does.
Exactly, but that's good for the curveball. That's why he has such a great curveball, because if you get right on top of it, the ball breaks almost straight down, and it's tougher to hit. Slider
in there for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jarrod Anderson has become a very reliable RBI man the last 3 years. And this year, leading the Angels again. They got 75 runs batted in, 297 average, 34 doubles. And the count now 2-2.
Well, he's interesting because I think what's interesting to watch how he has grown as a hitter. He came up, he was just a singles hitter, and now he's grown into a power hitter.
Oh, man. That pitch looked like a screwball or a splitter or something, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think it looked like a changeup. He threw it the pitch before, and it looked like he turned it over, though, but it was a changeup.
I don't know. I don't think that pitch is legal.
Well, I'm sure Jarrod Anderson wonders about it. Let's take a look here. No, you know what? That's a curveball. We're both wrong. It's a curveball.
You got a curveball that looks like a screwball.
Yeah, that one, because his curveball is usually bigger than that, meaning it starts higher up in the zone. So one way you can recognize a curveball, because it comes up and out of your hand before it starts to break down.
I thought Mike Marshall had shown up here tonight. The old relief pitcher threw the screwball. And Cirillo throws out Troy Gloss at number 2. Desi Relaford, who made that great play but controversial play in the first inning, was wearing a microphone tonight. Let's listen in as he made the play.
I think he's out. Yeah, I thought he was out. Shit, you can tell me the truth. He's out. You know, umpire no called him out.
To me,
You thought it was safe? To you. It's all right. You ain't the umpire.
Hey, well, why did he ask him then if he wasn't going to care about his opinion, right?
That's all right. You're not an umpire.
There's the curveball that we're talking about. See how he gets up on top of that one? And you can see it kind of comes out of his hand, out over the top of his hand, and then it breaks sharply down.
Brad Fulmer. 2 down, nobody on. And a changeup a little bit low on the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fulmer hitting .262, 10 homers, 33 driven in. I mean, this Angels club, since that terrible start, we saw them right about when they bottomed out. Fulmer hits one high in the air to right field, but Ichiro in the bright sunshine handles it, and that is the inning. 6 in a row retired by Pineiro. He's trying to be the stopper today. Dan Wilson, Desi Relaford, and then Ichiro coming up.
The ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week, presented by Nextel. Brought to you by Bud Light. The great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
Edison Field, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. No score is Jarrod Washburn. He's won 11 in a row. He has not lost a decision since April the 13th. And now here we are, July the 21st, more than 3 months later. One strike to count to Dan Wilson. Wilson fouls one off to the right. Now Wilson is also having a very fine year with the bat. I mean, he's really in there because he's such a fine receiver, handles the pitchers well, and does everything you'd want a catcher to do, but hitting .305.
But Johnny's always been a good clutch hitter. And he was a guy who could get a lot of clutch hits even when he didn't have a good batting average.
High and tight from Washburn. Jarrod Washburn, we were telling you, out of Division III Wisconsin Oshkosh. You know what the name of the Wisconsin Oshkosh baseball team is?
The Oshkosh baseball team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, their nickname.
Oh, well, you didn't ask me the nickname. You said the name. Nickname, okay. Let's see, the Oshkosh Rebels.
No. The Titans.
Oh, see, I was close.
Remember the Titans?
Yeah.
High and tight for, you were close. The Rebels. His best game when he pitched at Wisconsin Oshkosh, he won 1-0 and struck out 17 against the arch rival, the Whitewater Warhawks. That was a game that they will not soon forget in the long, heated rivalry between Oshkosh and the Whitewater Warhawks. 34 pitches for Washburn in the annals. Phil Orleans, he wants me to use the word annals. That is strike 3 called to Wilson on the outside. Baseball in the shadows with the bright background, and Desi Relaford is coming up. Now, he was talking to his teammate Brett Boone about that a little bit ago.
Quit starting the games at 5 o'clock so we can't see.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got you a hit up the middle. Of course you can see.
Got to hit up the middle.
Yeah. He's not concerned about it. Relaford, first ball swinging, hits it sharply, but right to Eckstein. And that is out number 2. Relaford hit a home run last night after the Mariners had lost the lead in the 7th inning on Gloss's 3-run homer. Relaford came up in the 8th inning and he hit a home run to tie the game.
John, we're starting a second time through the order. I saw a statistic that said that the first time through the order, the opposition is hitting .203 against Washburn. The second time through, they're hitting .242, and after that, .271. So they do make adjustments as the game goes along to him throwing a lot of fastballs.
Ichiro, who swung and missed at 3 straight pitches to start the game. He takes one here, 1 ball and no strikes. Ichiro's had 390 at bats this year and only 35 strikeouts. Rips that one deep into center, and Erstad catches up to it near the warning track. Ichiro hits it real hard, but into an out, still scoreless. Into the last of the 3rd. Spezio coming up. We'll be back. No score, last of the 3rd. Hey, Joe, whatever became of Raleigh Fingers?
He played in the golf tournament today in Lake Tahoe.
I was just wondering, you know, Raleigh with that handlebar mustache. I was thinking, what would Raleigh look like, say, 40 years from now? Here's a... He'll probably look just the same.
He probably will.
Foul ball by Scott Spezio. Spezio hit a home run last night that was the game-winning run in the 8th inning, and he hit it right-handed. And that kind of surprised a few people around here because he had not hit a right-handed home run in 2 years. Meanwhile, up the road a bit at Dodger Stadium, the Giants and Dodgers going at it without Barry Bonds in the lineup again. He strained a hamstring in the game there on Friday night. And we'll be giving you all the highlights as Russ Ortiz is pitching for the Giants against Hideo Nomo up there. Joel Pineiro pitching here for the Mariners. And the count 3-1. Scott Spezio. Barry Bonds, by the way, we understand Dick take batting practice today at Dodger Stadium and reported that he's feeling better. 3-1 the count. That is a fair ball down the left field line. Sierra over to pick it up, and Spezio eases into second with a stand-up double.
Really good hitting there by Spezio. Normally when you get a pitcher 3-1, you got to try to get a pitch that you can drive, but he didn't change his approach. Fastball, he just slaps it the other way inside the bag at third. You can see how far over Cirillo was playing. He had no chance to even make a play on this ball.
So Spezio at second. But on a game like this, Joe, I mean, Kennedy's really got to get him to third, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. But he's a good hitter. I mean, I expect him to do the job.
.299 average for the year. Shows bunt, takes a called strike.
If you do not feel like you can pull the ball to the right side, you know, over here, just go ahead and bunt it. You can drop a bunt down. But you're saying, as you said, in a game like this, you have to get the guy to third base. Nothing to nothing ball game. You need to strike first, especially against a team like Seattle.
Off the outside. No indication of the bunt there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And you can see what Pineiro is trying to do. He's trying to keep the ball away so that he can't pull it.
Jose Molina, the rookie, just up for the minor leagues, is on deck. Third baseman Cirillo in on the grass at third. No score in the game. And he bunts at it and misses.
Well, that was another good fastball away, and he may have had problems if he tried to swing and pull it, so he decided to bunt it. That one's off the plate outside, though. Tough pitch to bunt. And I'm a little surprised because Kennedy's a good enough hitter that he can pull the ball and get him over by swinging the bat.
Swing and a miss. And Wilson throws him out.
That's the problem you face when you give away 2 strikes. He bluffed the bunt and took strikes, and you can't do that.
And that great curveball got it.
And I mean, that rotation on the curveball is very difficult for the hitter to pick it up, especially in this type of light. That's why I say you have a better chance of hitting the fastball, because you just see the outline of the ball coming towards you. But you cannot see the spin on the ball to know that it's going to break. So every pitch looks like a fastball.
So 1 out. Kennedy retired, and Spezio still at second. Here is Jose Molina. That's too high. 1 ball and no strikes. The Arizona Diamondbacks played down the road. This has really been a baseball festival here in Southern California this weekend. Giants and Dodgers up the road in LA. 2 of the top contenders in the West, and Arizona have been playing down the road in San Diego. The 3rd contender in that division, and here in the American League West, the Angels and the Mariners going head to head. And both Dodger Stadium and Edison Field were sold out for games here on Friday. 96,000 plus paid their way in to see Major League Baseball on Friday night here in the Los Angeles region. That slider is in there for a strike. 1-2 now to Molina. Eckstein, the leadoff man, is on deck.
I think it would be very difficult for a right-handed hitter to handle Pineiro consistently, because he has so many looks that he can give you. He threw him the curveball, which was slower. Now he starts the slider at him, and he buckles, and it's a strike. I mean, the speeds on his breaking pitches, I think, really hurts a right-handed hitter.
Back through the middle. Relaford can't handle it. And that's going to allow Spezio to come around to the plate. The throw. 1-0 Angels.
Well, this will show you that Pineiro is off balance when he releases the ball. The ball wasn't hit that sharply, but they were playing him to pull. It was hit right back through the middle. He started the barehanded, then he changed his mind. And watch where this ball is hit, right back through the middle. Look at that. I mean, if you're in good fielding position, you make the play, and then it becomes a very difficult play for the shortstop. Relaford's trying to cut it off. He gets the in-between hop, and it hops off the top of his glove.
So Molina, the younger brother of the regular catcher here, Benji Molina, gets the run home, and it will be a hit for Jose and the RBI. Here's Eckstein. Molina running. Eckstein lifts a high fly ball into left center. Cameron takes it. Not many balls get by Cameron, unless they leave the yard entirely. on number 2.
That's why I say that defensively this was an exceptional team, especially your center fielder and your right fielder, and Brett Boone at second base. I mean, they're all Gold Glove quality players, and Olerud at first base. They've all won Gold Gloves.
So 2 down now, and Darren Erstad comes up. There's Brett Boone.
He made a play last night, John, that was just unbelievable. Ground ball up behind, up the middle, and he made a dive for it, got up and threw the guy out easily.
Oh, I've seen him do that.
Yeah, he's good.
I've seen it 100 times.
But he is good. You're right.
See,
well,
I'm like jaded to it now. He makes great plays. It's like, yeah.
But I think as good as he is, you know, in running the balls down, I think his real strength is making the double play. I think he actually really makes the double play well.
That's like the #1 thing for middle infielder.
Exactly. That's what it is. And
it's where tight games often are won or lost.
And I think the other things are overrated. I think, you know, guys running ball down, making great plays and all that. It's how well you make the double play, in my opinion, is how you grade the middle infielders. If they can make the double play, then they're always going to earn their worth, because there's so many opportunities and so many runs they save, especially late in the ball game. You allow their team to play deep and go for the double play rather than playing the infield in.
Erstad got thrown out in a close play at first as he takes a curveball for a strike. 1-2 the count to Darren Erstad. Erstad had a blood blister. As we take a look at that pitch again, and K-zone.
Beautiful pitch. And, you know, this is what we used to see before the K-zone. You see Dan Wilson pull the ball down, so you would think it's a ball. But you could see that ball went through the strike zone, in the strike, and went over the plate in the strike zone.
Back to the bag at first is Molina. Erstad had an infected blood blister on his left foot. Missed 3 games. And was resigned to the fact he wouldn't be able to play here Friday when the Mariners came in, and yet he felt fine Friday. Played, had 2 hits. And a high throw, but got him at second base. Brett Boone went up to get it, got back in the bag in time with a force on Molina. Cirillo's high throw handled by Boone. Cirillo, Boone, and Martinez coming up. Angels 1, Mariners nothing. Sunday Night Baseball continues now from Anaheim. Top of the 4th inning. And the Mariners are trailing. Here is Jeff Cirillo, and Brett Boone and Edgar Martinez against Jarrod Washburn. And that ball is too low. 1 ball and no strike. Cirillo, in the month of July, has had 6 hits in 50 at bats. He's in one of the worst slumps he's ever been in. That changeup is a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to him. A 120 batting average for him in July.
And John, when you watch this Seattle ball club, and especially remembering them from last year, you know, a 1-0 lead wasn't a big deal. Now you're not sure where the runs are going to be produced from.
Well, he shoots a base hit to left field past the diving Gloss.
John, we were talking about the second baseman, and I think this is one of the most difficult plays for a second baseman, which we saw from Brett Boone in the end of the last inning. He's so far over in the hole on the right side because there's a left-handed hitter up. Now he's running full speed to the bag. If this throw is offline anywhere, there's no way he can stop and adjust. So it's just a great play right there. Normally you get there in time, you can move one way or the other, but you see he's running full speed, takes that little 2 quick steps to jump up in the air and make the play. That's excellent play there by Brett Boone. He was under control.
There's a bit of Baryshnikov in that time.
He was running full speed, got himself under control, and then made the leap.
So Cirillo, the man who threw the ball from a sitting position, gets a hit, and now Boone, the man who turned it into a good play, is at the plate. Brett Boone, and he takes high for a ball 2-0. Now Brett Boone, I mean, at this point last year, he was setting the world on fire. Had 23 homers, 91 RBIs, at a .322 average. With his hit tonight, he's hitting .240, 14 homers and 59 batted in. So he's, I mean, the home run and RBI numbers are not bad numbers. I mean, he's got a chance to get his 100 RBIs and 25 home runs or whatever. But he kind of raised the bar for his performance.
Well, not only that, John, when you're hitting .240, you're not allowing the guys behind you to help them produce runs. You're not getting on base for them. If you're walking a lot, that's a different story. But he's hitting .241. He doesn't walk a lot. So, I mean, you're not allowing guys behind you to drive him in. So he produced more runs than anybody on the Mariners last year when you add the RBIs and the runs scored.
He scored 118 runs last year.
And he produced more runs than Ichiro or anyone else last year. And to be honest with you, that's why a lot of people may disagree, but I thought he was the most valuable player in the league last year because he drove in so many runs from that position after they had lost Alex Rodriguez. But I mean, I can't argue the fact that Ichiro was voted in. I mean, you know, it's one of those situations where they were both very valuable.
I mean, it's pretty clear that Ichiro was voted in at this point. I think you're wise not to argue that.
Not to argue that point.
But now Boone had 141 RBIs last year and 118 runs scored.
Right.
Except who was he driving in?
Well, he was driving in Ichiro, but he also scored 118. Well,
what if Ichiro had been a second baseman? Runner going, and the ball is inside to Boone, and they've got 2 men on with nobody out now for Edgar Martinez coming up. Well, the Giants are playing up in L.A. tonight. Jeff Kent has a double in that ball game, no score, and the Giants will be meeting the St. Louis Cardinals, 2 of the top contenders in the National League. The Cardinals are leaders in the Central Division. Albert Pujols having another sensational year. Jim Edmonds, the Cardinals and the Giants from Pacific Bell Park, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Tomorrow night, Monday Night Baseball, and there you see it's 75 RBIs. You got 4 of them today in Pittsburgh. Again, the Cardinals needed to win. They had lost the first 2 games of that series at PNC Park. And it was the first start for Chuck Finley, former Angel, acquired from Cleveland by St. Louis. And he found out it's good to play an Albert Pujols. It's been a good pitch for Albert Pujols' team.
John, this is a situation where Washburn needs to get the ball down so he can get the ground ball. And this is one of those times where if you can make the ball tail away from Edgar, it works in your favor. But you definitely want to get the ball down and try to get the ground ball.
So Washburn in a tough spot now. The cleanup hitter of the Mariners at the plate. It's up and away. 2-0 to Edgar. He flied out to center his first time on a 3-2 pitch. Washburn is a guy who does not often get ground balls. I mean, he's induced 1 double play ball in his last 15 starts. That one off the glove of Gloss and down the left field line. It was really scorched. That will get Cirillo home. Boone goes over to third, and Edgar, who is not running that well after his hamstring surgery, holds with a single. And Seattle has very promptly tied the score here in the 4th inning, and they're threatening to get more, and nobody out.
I actually thought Gloss was going to knock this ball down because it takes a true hop. But again, he gets the ball up. Edgar gets on top of it and rips it. Now watch right here. It takes a true hop right there, and it hits off the tip of his glove. He couldn't react quick enough. The ball was hit sharply.
Yeah, I think that's it too. It just hit real hard.
But being honest with you, John, that's how you win 11 games in a row. Something like that happens, they make the play for you. I mean, you have to have a little luck to go along with your ability when you win that many ball games in a row.
How many times over the years has a pitcher's luck run out when Edgar Martinez has been at the plate?
Well, good point.
1 ball, 1 strike. There's Edgar. And Jarrod Washburn, the young lefty, and a hot left-hander. 11 straight wins. Now facing Olerud. Olerud, fair ball down the left field line. Boone will come in to score. Edgar is going to be safe at third. The ball actually hit him as Martinez makes it all the way to third. And he was talking about before the game, the next step for him is to try to find out what happens when he runs full out. He's just been afraid to do it, and he took a chance on that one.
Well, I think he surprised Garrett Anderson, because when Garrett Anderson got the ball, he had a real good shot at throwing Edgar out. I mean, again, this is just good hitting. You see Olerud goes the other way, fastball down and away. Look at that. He just goes the other way with it. I mean, he's such a good hitter. Edgar's such a good hitter that you get in trouble and they do not bail you out.
Now here is Sierra. This can be a big inning now for the Mariners. 2 runs already in. Runners at second and third and nobody out. Sierra flied out to left center his first time. Well, we were talking about Washburn didn't get many ground balls. He got a couple here, but he got the one by Edgar, and it was a shot. And not a ground ball by Olerud. It was a low liner, though.
Well, he got the ball down. It was just good hitting there by Olerud.
And I have a theory about that with Olerud.
Yeah.
He's good.
It's pretty. That's.
And that's a foul ball into the Angels dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But Edgar showed you something there. I mean, he decided, I'm going to let this go, and he tried to go to third, and he made it. And that's one of the things you do. You've lost 2 straight ball games here. So what you try to do is put pressure on the Angels, just make things happen. You play a little more aggressively than you did in the first 2 ball games.
Because that would have been first and second.
Right, and then not a tough situation, and with a double play situation still in order.
And Sierra has grounded into 13 double plays this year, more than any other Mariners hitter. But he went for it, and as you say, likely caught Garrett Anderson by surprise.
Yeah, I think he did. It wasn't that long a throw from left field to third base, but he still made it.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Sierra. Cameron on deck. And that's a foul out of play off to the right into the lower deck. Still 1-2. Let's take a look at Edgar running.
That's John. John Olerud.
Well, he makes up his mind. He never slowed down. I mean, he had his mind made up. He was going to third base from the moment he saw that ball hit over the head of the third baseman. Good, smart base running there by Edgar.
And Olerud immediately heading for second. Well, he swung at that one, a slider in the dirt, and he can run, but is thrown out by Molina. I think he was hoping that they would say he did not swing at it. But the plate umpire Randazzo said, yeah, you went around with it. And that is 1 away. So Sierra unable to get that runner home from third.
Well, that looked like a changeup of some sort because it bounces halfway. You see he's way out in front. And I was sitting here wondering what he was going to use as a strikeout pitch because he throws so many fastballs and the hitters sit on the fastball.
Well, I'm chalking that one up to the shadows and the glare of the background. And that's going to fall in front of Erstad. Coming in to score, Edgar Martinez. Going to third is Olerud. And Cameron dunks one into shallow center. And 3 runs have crossed for the Mariners, still with only 1 out.
Well, a good pitch by Washburn. He hits him on the fist. But this ball, he's strong enough that he fights it off and bloops it into center field for a base hit. Watch, this ball hits him right on the fist. You see the setup inside right there. It jams him. It's even off the plate inside, but he gets enough of it that he's able to muscle it into the outfield for a base hit.
So now Washburn. Now he hasn't had to deal with too many innings like this lately. 11 straight wins. Here's Dan Wilson. Runners at first and third. That's too low. Wilson called out on strikes his first time. Olerud at third, Cameron at first. Edgar had said before the game that he was anxious to test himself with the running because he says he's feeling no pain whatsoever on the hamstring. He thinks he'd be fine running 100%, but he just hadn't had the courage to try it yet. And you can see that. I mean, he's had a lot of hamstring problems. He just was in the back of his mindset. He's been afraid that if he let it all hang out, that it might pop again.
Well, I'm sure if Seattle would have won the first 2 ball games of the series, he probably wouldn't have tried it. But since they'd lost the first 2, he knows that he's got to help produce some runs.
Changeup high and away to Dan Wilson. 2-0. Desi Relaford, a switch hitter, is on deck. So the crowd very quiet here. There's been a loud, raucous crowd here the first 2 days of the series. The Angels winning both games before sellout crowds. Back to the bag at first to take that throw. Spezio, and Cameron steps on the bag. 2-0 the count to Wilson.
Well, they're trying to make sure that Cameron doesn't steal second base and take the double play out of play here. They want to make sure they keep the double play in order.
He's stolen 18 bases this year. That one into center, over into right center. Erstad tagging at third. Olerud. He's heading home. The throw comes in to be cut off. Well, Spezio thought about cutting it off, and he might as well have. And it is 4-1. Olerud scores on the sacrifice fly by Wilson.
Well, good job by Dan Wilson to get the ball into the outfield and make sure he kept the ball off the ground. And not a bad pitch by Washburn. That ball is down a little bit and on the inner half of the plate. But Wilson kind of put an inside out swing on it and got it to the outfield.
So Dan Wilson with his 30th RBI of the year. 4 runs are in, and here is Relaford, the 8th batter of the inning. Cameron back to the bag.
Well, they're not holding Cameron on the conventional way. They've got the first baseman playing off the bag. And truthfully, I understand that when you have a left-handed hitter at the plate, but I don't quite agree with it when you have a right-hander at the plate. And my reason for that is the fact that if you're a good base runner, you can feel Spezio and then take off. You can just feel where he's going to go and then kind of take off.
Well, we see the New York Mets do it that way. Olerud, when he was a Met, used to himself play first base that way.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's a great idea when you have a left-handed hitter up or a right-hander that hits the ball that way. But in a conventional sense, I just think that you're better off trying to hold a base stealer the conventional way.
Well, one thing that they do is, I mean, Spezio gets out there about the same spot where Cameron would get his lead, and then as the pitch is about to be thrown, he feints back toward the bag, trying to get the runner to go that way too. Well, this time it wasn't just a deke. They threw to first.
The first time I ever saw that, you know, the Pirates did it with Willie Stargell. Chuck Tanner was the manager, and they started doing that to try to confuse the base runners and base stealers.
Mike Scioscia, the manager. 1 ball, 1 strike, and again they throw to first. So yeah, but somewhere in all those signs by Scioscia was the throw to first sign.
I still think if you're a good base stealer, you don't read, you read the pitcher, but you know how far off the first baseman is. But you basically you can still read the pitcher because the pitcher can trick the first baseman as well.
1-1 the count. And another throw to first. Well, they're convinced apparently that Cameron's going to run here.
Well, I agree with you. I think that's what they're convinced, that he's going to try to steal second base.
You know, one thing they're really missing Benji Molina, because he was one of the best in the game this year at throwing out would-be base stealers. I think he threw out 47%, nearly half of all the runners who attempted to steal against the Angels while he was behind the plate. 2-1 the count. Cameron still at first.
Well, you can see Washburn right there. He changed his motion. He kind of not a full slide step, but a variation of the slide step. He used that to go to the plate on that particular throw.
And little slide step there too. Shallow right, could be trouble. No, Salmon gets there. But it was trouble for Jarrod Washburn. The Mariners with 4 runs coming up. Joel Pineiro demonstrates the difference between his slider and his curveball. We'll be back. All right. And of course the Mariners and the Angels are not disappointed in that outcome. The Athletics were in a virtual tie for second with the Angels at the start of the day. And they're all real tightly bunched, the 3 of them, with Texas having another poor year. Pineiro with the sharp breaking ball, and the count for Tim Salmon, 1 ball and 1 strike. Tim Salmon with that 5-hit game here Friday capped it off the scoring with a 3-run homer. Fastball at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's why Pineiro is so effective, John. He has a lot of weapons to use against a right-handed hitter. The fastball there, the tailed end. We've seen the breaking ball and the slider and the curveball. It's very difficult for a right-hander to handle all of those pitches when they're that good.
Beach ball got out in the field, out in right field, so they take care of that. Pineiro's thrown a lot of pitches already. We're in the 4th inning, 4-1. Pineiro and the Mariners are leading. Salmon hits one high in the air to center. Looks like an easy play for Cameron. Deep center and one away. Joel Pineiro in our baseball notebook, brought to you by Nextel. We asked Joel to demonstrate the difference between his slider and curve. Nextel, your direct connection with the best players in the game. First, the curveball.
Try to hold it deep in my hand. And, I'm very over the top pitcher. My arm comes way high. And that's what I look for, a 12-6 straight over the top. This is my slider. I just try to get fastball, think fastball away, and then last minute just give it kind of little twist on the wrist.
And this ball one to Jarrod Anderson.
And John, that's interesting because that's the first time I've heard someone describe their slider like that. A lot of guys may twist their wrist a lot more and not think fastball and push it away, or they may grab the ball. If I can demonstrate here, they grab the ball here like he did, and then they pull down, which gets you the rotation this way, the same way, but he kind of throws it and then he twists it at the end. So I think that's kind of interesting. I've never heard guys describe it that way.
Called strike in the inside with a fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Anderson, who struck out his first time.
A lot of guys just use pressure on their index finger to pull down so that they get that rotation. The index finger here, they pull down with that.
Well, go ahead, throw that slider again. I'll show how I swing and miss at the ball in the dirt.
Steve Carlton used to throw his like that. He just pulled down real hard.
See, and there I am, right over the top.
Right there. You're there. Yeah.
I tried to check my swing.
But he does have a fantastic slider. And again, he doesn't have to change a lot to throw it.
That fastball is a fair ball. Past the diving Olerud and down the right field line. Ichiro over to pick it up. Easily into second base with a double is Jarrod Anderson. That is his 35th double of the year. He leads the American League in that category. He was tied with Nomar Garcia-Parra of the Red Sox for first place, and Alfonso Soriano of the Yankees in that category at the start of the day.
Well, it's not a bad pitch, but most left-handed hitters like the ball down and in because they seem to get more bat speed at that point. And Jarrod Anderson rips it down the line.
Troy Gloss. Now Gloss hit the home run that put the Angels ahead in the 7th inning last night, a 3-run shot, and he had gone since June the 28th without a home run, 61 consecutive at bats without a long ball, a big fly. There we go. Slider, and it's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's kind of interesting, John, watching Pineiro, especially after he's described this for us. You can see him kind of pull right at the end on that slider to get it outside like he wants on the right-handed hitters. He says he's thinking fastball away, and then he just pulls across it just enough.
That's a called strike.
That's why
Gloss didn't like the call.
And that's why it's so difficult for a right-hander to hit. He runs 1 pitch away. Now he runs that one back inside. And he's got a lot of weapons. And watch this. He comes right back inside with it. That's after throwing him the slider away.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Gloss. Huge right-handed hitter with enormous power. But he's been slumping lately. Slider, and he takes it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We got a runner at second, 1 out. Now the Angels are down 4-1 here in the 4th inning to the Mariners. Last night at one point they were down 5-1. They came back to go ahead on Gloss' 7th inning home run and won eventually 7-6. And they do it again.
Well, he finally made a mistake. Gloss couldn't handle it. That was a hanging slider inside over the plate, not necessarily inside. Wilson was set up down and away, and he threw that one and stayed pretty much in the middle of the plate. I think he fouled it because it had so much speed on it.
Meanwhile, up the road in Los Angeles, Dodgers nothing, Giants nothing. Top of the 4th inning, Hideo Nomo, a longtime nemesis of the Giants, matched up with Russell Ortiz there, and that is strike 3 on that low fastball. Loss becomes the 3rd strikeout victim for Pineiro.
Well, again, he's got so many weapons against a right-handed hitter. In, out, up, and down, and then just great fastball with a little movement down on it.
Pineiro, who was born in Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico, but at an early age he moved with his mother to Florida. And his mom and dad divorced. He went to high school and community college in Florida. Tries the curveball, but misses high to Brad Fulmer. 1 ball and no strikes. Still lives in Puerto Rico now in the offseason. Brad Fulmer trying to come through in the clutch here for the Angels. Down 4-1. Runner at second, 2 down. Fulmer flied out to right his first time. And he's got a base hit. Anderson heading home. Sierra's going to throw all the way through, but not nearly in time. And it is 4-2. So Fulmer comes through with 2 down. Big hit.
Well, it was a good job by Fulmer because he didn't try to pull it. He just went the other way with it. It looked like it was a little slider or something breaking in, but he didn't try to pull it. Let's see where this pitch is. Little slider, and he doesn't try to pull it, just goes the other way with it. That's good hitting. Sierra didn't really have a shot with 2 outs.
Yeah, he overthrew his cutoff man, but Fulmer did not take the extra base. Here's Spezio, and that's a ball too low. Spezio hit a double his first time. Scott Spezio. He really came on last year. Second half of the year. Mo Vaughn missed the whole year. The regular first baseman. Spezio did a great job. That ball is blooped and foul.
Well, he did a great job defensively as well. I mean, he's an excellent first baseman. John, while we have a moment here, I want to wish my good friend Judge Bruno Tassoni in Chicago a healthy recovery. He's been ill under the weather. I was there last week and want to just wish him well. I didn't hear you wish him well.
Well, I was going to wait until we get to Chicago.
Oh, all right.
And maybe take him out to dinner and wish him well in person.
Okay, well, we'll do that.
I like to do it a little more quietly.
Okay.
Maybe you can introduce me to him that night before I wish him well, so it has a little more meaning. Spezio grounds out to Olerud. It's 4-2. Ichiro is coming up, followed by Cirillo, and then Brett Boone. Mariners 4, Angels 2. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. Tonight from Southern California, from Anaheim, the first place Mariners, the second place Angels in the American League West. 4-2 Seattle going to the 5th. And the Mariners are coming up now with the top of the order. Ichiro leads off against Washburn. Washburn with the breaking ball for a strike. Ichiro is 0 for 2. He is struck out and fly deep to center. A .356 batting average. Hit .350 last year. That ball back out of play. 0-2 the count. Take a look at the bat that Ichiro is swinging.
33.5 inches, 32 ounces.
Manufactured by Mizuno. And he's very particular about his bats. He carries the bats in a humidor. Not just at home. He's got a special travel humidor for when they go on the road.
Well, that's to keep him from gaining weight. The moisture in the air will make the bats heavier. That's what happens if you start with a 31-ounce bat and you use it for a long period of time. It will grow. I'm going to show you how difficult it is to hit. This is a very small barrel. Look at that. Now, with this being a small barrel, there's only 1 inch of hitting surface here. If you hit it up here, it's a pop-up.
Oh, off the leg of Washburn, and Ichiro eludes the tag by Spezio.
Now that's exciting.
Man, what a slide.
Well, we've always said that he was a very smart player. I mean, he knows how to play the game. He has great baseball instincts. And this ball is hit off the foot of, I thought that he should have let it go, but you see he tries a kick save. And I watch as Spezio comes up, tries to make the tag. He just avoids it, goes outside, and he's safe. And remember that box there, you have to be in the box somewhere the last couple of feet. And you can see that he definitely I mean, he can go outside the box right there. That's not bad. And then he dives and he can touch the bag. That was Jose Molina with his mask cam, huh?
There's a called strike to Jeff Cirillo. Now on that play, if Spezio already had the ball and then Ichiro ran out of the baseline like that, you can't do that.
Yeah, you still have a base. You established a baseline. We'll have to explain that.
Look at that. 38 of his hits have been infield hits. Jeff Cirillo. And that one just misses on the inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cirillo got a single to start the 4th inning off.
See, John, the runner establishes the baseline by the angle that he takes. So he's running outside of that line already, but he has to be able to touch the bag. He can't run like over by the dugout and then when a guy's making a play on him, because he's already established the baseline.
1-2 the count. But I mean, once if Spezio had picked up the ball and
well, here's the point. If he would start out here, if he's running here and Spezio comes, he still can go this way and still not be out of the baseline, is my point. See, he establishes the baseline by where he's running. Now, if he's running in here and he tries to make a play on him, you have to get back in the baseline. You have to get back in that box because you can't run on the inside when they're making a play on him.
But I mean, I can't just arbitrarily establish my own baseline.
Yes, you can.
I mean, not if I'm only establishing it to elude a tag.
Well, I mean, yes, you can. If you're starting, for instance, where Ichiro is now, if he backs up 5 feet, he can do that. And then his angle to the bag is his baseline towards second base.
3-2 now to Cirillo.
See, if Ichiro is standing back here, for instance, behind here, if that's where he starts, and he starts his angle to the bag from there, that's his baseline.
Yeah. Well, I understand that.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is if he's not out to where you're talking about, he only goes out there because the guy's got the ball waiting for him.
Well, you can't. You can only run a.
Ichiro on a delayed steal. Cirillo has struck out. They got him in a rundown.
Normally, it only takes a couple of throws to get a guy when you get him in a hot box, but took a little longer there for Ichiro.
I mean, somehow we knew it would.
See, now he's established a baseline, John, right there. All right. See, now watch. He'll be able to go out there. See what I mean? He's outside there. He has 3 feet on either side. See, he wasn't called out yet until they tagged him. You have 3 feet on the side of that where you make that establish the baseline. I know it's complicated. I don't want to complicate. Yeah. See, now he's not out. See, he ran out to avoid, but he's not because he'd established the baseline on the outside of that base path. I know what you mean. You shouldn't be able to avoid, run out in the left field to, I mean, right field to avoid, which you can't. But once you establish the baseline, then it's okay.
I mean, the game, the rules are so complicated.
Yeah, well, they are in that instance. But I think, again, it's the umpire's interpretation of where your baseline, where the baseline is after you've established your line towards second base.
Boone has singled, and then in that 4-run 4th inning rally, as you were just talking about last year with his great batting average, how many RBI opportunities he set up for guys behind him.
Right.
Unlike this year where his average is low, he got a walk on a 3-2 pitch, and that helped them get a 4-run rally.
Exactly.
Getting on base for those guys behind. 1-2. And Washburn misses with a high fastball. 2-2 the count.
But actually, Boone has started to swing the bat much better lately, and so has Mike Cameron. And they're both going to have to contribute if the Mariners are going to stay ahead of both Oakland.
Boone is contributing tonight in a big way. That's into the right field corner. Salmon digs it out. Boone is into second. So he now, in 3 trips to the plate, has a single, a double, and a walk.
Well, he's been swinging the bat so much better, as I said, and that's because he's not trying to pull everything. He's always been a guy that would swing at the high fastball, but a lot of times before he tried to pull it, now he takes the high fastball, he's going the other way. I mean, he's just starting to swing the bat better. I mean, that's what happens over the course of the season. You get in the rhythm. And watch, he doesn't try to pull this ball. Look at that. He just hammers it the other way. A lot of times early in the season, he was trying to pull that ball, and he hit a pop-up, but he was going the other way right away, and he ends up with a double.
Well, maybe Boone is ready to get it going. As Buddy Black, the pitching coach, goes out to talk to Jarrod Washburn. Boone in this series has 5 hits in 9 at-bats. So maybe the stretch run has begun for Brett Boone.
And I talked to Mike Cameron. He's starting to swing the bat better as well. I asked him what was the problem before, and he said most of it was mental at first, and then it became physical. He started over-swinging, and he said, you know, he just wasn't thinking properly at the plate. He said he's gotten himself back to where he belongs. He's starting to see the ball better now.
Well, you know, last year in the first half of the season, the trio of Boone, Cameron, and Cirillo was doing it for another team,
right.
But you have 3 key men in their lineup. That's a called strike to Edgar. Halfway through the year, they were hitting .310 with 48 homers and 189 RBIs. Those 3 guys. This year, the halfway point hitting .230, 33 homers and 95 RBIs, about half the number of RBIs that the 3 of them had last year. Edgar with a soaring fly ball up out of the shadows, down the right field line, and Salmon couldn't hold it.
Well, you could see that ball, John. When a right-hander hits a ball down the right field line, it usually tails toward the seats. Once that ball got up, it seemed like it started moving back toward fair territory, so that they did have a play on it. And I think if Kennedy wouldn't have been there, Salmon would have made a catch. Actually, that Spezio is there. See, I think that's why he pulled up, because Spezio was coming into the pitcher. They're both charging as that ball's coming back. And you try to avoid injury.
I think they hit each other's knees.
Yeah, you want to avoid the collision.
Boone at second, 2 down. It is 0-2 to Edgar Martinez. He singled home a run his last time. Buries that fastball in there, but too far in. The shadows now are covering most of the field. Not quite all of the hitter's background.
Yeah, that's the trouble. There's still sunshine on the hitter's background.
Fly ball in the shallow right. Kennedy out. And Salmon calls him off. 2 hits, but no runs. 1 man left. 4-2. Seattle out in front. Sunday Night Baseball from Anaheim. Seattle Mariners 4, the Anaheim Angels 2. A look at Edison Field from the Goodyear blimp. Our aerial coverage courtesy of Goodyear and its fleet of airships, which remind you to take all of life's journeys on the wings of Goodyear. Here's Adam Kennedy. He takes down and away for ball 1. Kennedy struck out his first time against Joel Pineiro. Pineiro got 10 wins, and he was in the bullpen for a while. He had 6 appearances out of the bullpen this year. He's really been something. Pineiro is right up there with Jamie Moyer and Freddie Garcia, the 2 aces of the Mariners rotation. He's got 11 wins. Moyer's got 10, and Pineiro's got 10. And in his last 9 games against teams with winning records, in fact, not just his last, all the games he's pitched this year against teams with winning records, he is 5-0 with a 1.22 ERA. So the better the team he's facing, the better he pitches. You know, the team that owns him, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, they beat them twice. That's up the middle. Base hit. Meanwhile, there's a game going on at Dodger Stadium with the Giants and Dodgers. An update with Dave Rebson.
Thank you, John. Giants and Dodgers, as you said, somebody's going to pick up a game on Arizona. Pick it up in the top of the 5th. We're still scoreless, but David Bell taking care of that. He brings home Shinjo. That makes it 1-0 San Fran. That's where it stands right now, John.
All right, so Shinjo up against Nomo in that game up there. Albert Pujols and the Cardinals will take on the Giants tomorrow night on Monday Night Baseball on ESPN, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, from beautiful Pacific Bell Park in San Francisco. Runner goes, and on the hit and run, Jose Molina slaps one foul. He did a pretty good job making contact in that pitch.
Excellent job, but I also like the fact that Mike Scioscia decided, hey, let's do something. Just put some runners in motion. See, because it's very difficult, as I've said the whole game, for a right-handed hitter against Pineiro because he has such great weapons against right-handed hitters. So he figures if I can use Molina just to get, if I even just get him in the scoring position, I'm better off.
Angels are down 4-2. They're trying to affect a comeback for the second night in a row here. And, you know, Seattle is not a team that gives up leads, at least normally, but last night they lost a 4-run lead, and that was the third time this month that Seattle lost a game in which it at one point led by at least 4 runs. 3 times this month. You know how many times that happened last year?
3?
Once.
Oh, okay.
They only lost 1 game last year that they led by 4 runs or more. And you probably don't even remember that game because you were off at Cooperstown with your Hall of Fame buddies.
But after everything happened, I came back in and you guys were still on. So I did see it. I saw a little of it.
The only game they lost where they had a lead of 4 runs or more all last year, they actually had a lead of 12 in Cleveland. They had 14-2 and lost 15-14. Yeah, no big deal. You missed that game. Only the greatest game in the last 80 years.
Well, the funny thing, even this year, John, their bullpen has the best earned run average in the league going, you know. So, I mean, they're pretty good at that. I mean, it's still preserving leads.
But 3 times this month alone, they've had 4-run leads or more and lost the game. Molina. Base hit to right field. Stopping at second is Kennedy. Jose Molina,
good job,
is 2 for 2 in this game.
Well, I mean, he doesn't try to pull it. I mean, that pitch is down out of the strike zone. A little slider looked like it. He just goes the other way with it. Boone was giving him a lot of hole on the right side also.
Yeah, I call that pitch slide piece.
Yeah, that was a slide piece.
All right, so Molina was single home a run in the 3rd inning. Gets a base. I mean, it's a pretty good pitch.
It was an excellent pitch. I think if you're the, I think you should bunt here if you're the Angels. I think that, I mean, you have to try to get back in this ball game as quick as possible. You need to win this ball game as much as Seattle does, simply because it's a 1-game swing if Seattle wins.
Well, you want to bunt?
Yeah.
Call in Eckstein.
Good job.
He's the perfect guy.
Yeah. Good job.
That didn't take too long. Kennedy over to 3rd, Molina over to 2nd.
And he did it perfectly by making the 3rd baseman field the ball.
You want a bunt? Call Eckstein.
Well, you know, he's a very fundamentally sound player, a good player. He just, look at this, he squares around, drops it down the 3rd baseline. No chance for anyone to make the play except Cirillo. That allows the base runner to go over 3rd easily. And the sacrifice is complete. And the reason I said that, you get your first 2 guys on, you have to score a run here when you're down 4-2. And even if you get Erstad to ground out or just put the ball in play, you get 1 run back.
The infield is back, normal depth. Erstad has grounded out to the shortstop and hit into a force play. And that'll get a run home, just like you're talking about. Brett Boone throws him out. Coming in to score is Kennedy. Molina over to 3rd. And the Angels manufacture a run and have drawn to within 1. It is 4-3 Seattle.
Good job by Eckstein to get him over in the scoring position. And then you see the congratulations from his teammates. And then you see Erstad, he did the job by driving the run in. A lot of people say, well, he made it out. Yeah, but how many times have we seen a guy pop up or hit a shallow fly ball and not be able to score the runner? He got the job done. He moved the runner in. He drove in 1 run. He would like to have gotten a base hit, but he at least accomplished half the job.
Now Tim Salmon. He chases that slider, does not get it. 0-1 the count. Salmon is flied out to left center and flied out deep to center. 0 for 2. Now Oakland, I don't see Oakland bunting in that spot.
No.
Although their lineup has changed a little bit from.
Well, you're right. They have changed. They have bunted occasionally, but I don't think they would have in that situation.
And it is 0-2 to Salmon. Staying after him with the slider is Pineiro. We got 2 young, talented pitchers going tonight. Pineiro came into the game with a 2.84 ERA for Lou Pinella's club. Washburn 3.03. And there have been 7 runs and 13 hits scored. We're only in the bottom of the 5th inning. and we had all the shadows and whatnot. I thought this would be a double no-hitter by now. Salmon shoots it hard right past Molina, the runner at third.
Well, that's good protection there by Salmon. He threw him 2 sliders away, and then he came back with a fastball in. That's why he says he has so many weapons against a right-handed hitter.
Pineiro. Opponents were hitting 108 with runners in scoring position during his last 8 starts, and he hit Salmon. Fastball that got away from him on an 0-2 count.
Well, I think he was just trying to establish another fastball in so he would set up his slider away, but it does get away from him, and Salmon could not get out of the way.
Well, now he's going to face a lefty and a tough one, Jarrod Anderson.
And you can see that fastball just runs up and in. It looked like he got him on the right hand. And it does. It hits him on the right. Looks like the right thumb.
You can see how upset Pineiro was. So now here is Jarrod Anderson. I mean, he hits Salmon with a 2-strike count. Now he's going to face Anderson, a lefty, and he's the Angels' leading RBI man. And he doubled his last time up there. 2 on, 2 out. Olerud backs up, plays the hop, and will take it himself. Just like that, out of trouble. But the Angels had another run. Now it's a 1-run game. Going to the 6th. Olerud coming up. Then Sierra. 4-3 Seattle.
The ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week, presented by Nextel. Nextel, how business gets done. And in part by Bank of America.
All right, now here we go. Top of the 6th inning. Mariners 4, Angels 3. John Olerud leading it off. Drives one deep into right field and gone. A home run. Olerud, first ball swinging, hits his 17th home run of the year. And this one against a tough left-hander. And it is 5-3.
John, it's interesting. We talked about the statistic of how the first time through the order he gets hitters hit 203, the second time through 242, and thereafter 271. And I think we're seeing a little of that here because he throws so many fastballs. Hitters sit on the fastball, and Olerud sitting on a first pitch fastball there, got it and drove it out of the ballpark.
Now Ruben Sierra. Now also keep in mind that he tends to get high pitch counts. It's hard for him to go more than 6-7 innings because he's always throwing so many pitches. He's at 86 pitches in 5 innings in this game. And Sierra drives one deep into left center, but playable and caught by Erstad. 1 away.
Well, you do not see hitters the second and third time through order taking a lot of fastballs. Right there, there's a fastball. He's sitting on a fastball. He gets it, and he drives it out of the ballpark. And watch as we go through the lineup this time, you'll see that they will not take fastballs for strikes. They're looking for fastballs, and they're going to try to hit them because they know that's what he does, you know, throughout the ball game. He throws a lot of fastballs.
I mean, that looked like it was right in John Olerud's hit it out spot, too.
Well, I think John thought it was.
Mike Cameron has flied out to right and singled home a run. 1 for 2. Change up too low.
And I think that's what he needs to do more of, you know, second, third time through the order. Just mix in some change ups, you know, just to let them see a different speed every once in a while.
Washburn with that 11-game winning streak. That ball is hit into right field deep, going back under it. Salmon.
Again, that's another fastball. But I mean, that's you know, major league hitters do adjust. But, you know, I just think that Washburn has such a good fastball that he's been able to get away with it in most of his games because he has such great movement on it.
So 2 down, and Dan Wilson will come up. Well, the first time through the lineup tonight, the Mariners were 1 for 9. The second time through, they went 4 for 7. And so far in the third time, 3 for 7.
And there's a reason for that. It's not just that I don't think he's losing anything. I think it's the adjustment that these hitters are making to him when they know that he's pretty much throwing dead red most of the time, even though there's good movement on it. Anytime he makes a mistake when they're looking for the fastball, they're going to hit it. And you see he's changing, or he's throwing Dan Wilson a couple of breaking balls. And I think that's what you have to do. Even if you miss with them, you have to show them a different speed every once in a while.
1 ball, 1 strike to count. Back to the screen.
But you see, anytime he throws a fastball, they're not taking it. They're right on it because they're looking fastball.
The first 3 hitters of the inning all hit the ball deep. A long home run for Olerud, and a deep fly ball by Sierra, and a deep fly ball by Cameron.
Well, he threw Wilson 2 curveballs, and he came with the fastball, and Wilson was right on it.
2-2.
And that's not, you know, that he can't get away with it most of the time. It's just that, you know, I have some pretty good hitters in this lineup. They're good fastball hitters, and they're sitting dead red.
That slider fielded by Gloss. He's got the strong arm, and the inning is over. But another run. John Olerud with the big fly. Gloss, Fulmer, and Spezio coming up for Anaheim.
Dave Refson in our SportsCenter in-game studios. Giants and Dodgers, both clubs with a chance to pick up a game on Arizona in the 6th. San Fran already on top 1-0. Reggie Sanders off Hideo Nomo, number 13 on the year for Sanders. It's 2-0 San Fran. Giants have a runner on second right now. We'll keep you posted. Right now, let's go back to Johnny Joe.
All right, thanks, Dave. That's going on just up the road. A great race in the National League West as well as the American League West. Arizona lost today in San Diego. And the Dodgers, then the Giants. The winner of that game up in L.A. will move into sole possession of second place, or in the case of the Dodgers, retain sole possession. 2-hopper to second by Troy Gloss, and Boone throws him out. So on 1 pitch, Joel Pineiro gets one of the Angels' big power hitters. You know, it's interesting, the Angels have some power hitters, guys like Salmon, Anderson, Gloss, Fulmer, guys who can hit the long ball, but they're not hitting that many home runs this year.
Right.
I mean, they've only hit 83 homers, and they've allowed 110. They've been out-homered by 27 home runs, and that is pretty remarkable considering that they have such a good record. As Fulmer stands in, he is 1 for 2. In the American League, there are only 2 teams that have been out-homered by a worse margin than that: Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Although before we say anything more about Kansas City, they are hot. Man, are they hot. Fulmer, foul. A couple of feet foul. 0-2. 5-3. Mariners lead the Angels. We're at Edison Field here in Anaheim. Not a sellout tonight. They sold out the first 2 games of the series. 43,000 plus each night. But they'll nonetheless, without a sellout tonight, still end up around 120,000 for this series. Fulmer, but that one is not going to stay fair. Well, he's clobbered the ball here against Pineiro, but his best shots are going foul.
Well, he had 2 breaking balls, and they didn't snap as sharply as Pineiro was like. But the other thing is, remember, he's left-handed hitter. And I said all along that his weapons really stack up well against right-handed hitters, not as well against left-handers.
Spezio, a switch hitter on deck, goes back to the fastball, misses a little bit off the corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, remember last year when he first came up, we saw him in Seattle one night, and he had not given up a hit to a right-handed hitter all year. I think it was like 47 or 48 right-handed hitters before somebody finally got a hit against him.
Yeah, I think actually the total actually ended up being 51. But I was watching him, and I was just seeing how he matched up well against right-handers, and I forgot, and then I remembered, just to your point, that last year that he had not given up a hit against a right-hand hitter for such a long time. But you can see why, because his fastball tails in, his slider and his curveball. I mean, it's very difficult for a right-hander to handle him. And there you see the breakdown today, although right-handers have done okay, really 2 for 9. That's better than 0 for 51.
Yeah. 51 it was.
Yeah, 51.
So you're so good on keeping those stats.
Well, no. I actually had to ask. I said, I remember last year that right-handers couldn't get a hit off of him, and our crack staff went to work and found it.
Couldn't get a hit off him. All right. Ichiro, that's a pretty good piece of wood. It's just so small.
It's very small. I mean, he only has like 1 inch where he has to hit the ball.
I mean, Ichiro is very particular How about the kind of wood that he uses? That is strike 3.
He finally got the curveball down and away, away from him, and they got him on the strikeout. I mean, all the hitters are particular about their wood, John. Let's take a look at this pitch sequence to Fulmer. Fastball for a strike. Curveball that he ripped foul. Another curveball. He hits this one out of the park foul. Off the plate inside. Goes back away with a breaking ball. And another fastball. Now here's the one that gets it right down and away. Maybe that was a changeup. Something off speed.
Well, remember we saw that other curveball earlier. That
it went that way. Maybe
it has like reverse spin on it.
Well, when I was watching it and watching his release, I thought it was a curveball, but there I couldn't see the break.
Spezio, left center field. That's going to be in there. Base hit. And it gets through. Spezio is going to head for third. Cameron's throw. Not nearly in time. Cut off finally by Boone. A triple for Spezio.
John, I'm not so sure that Cameron didn't try to pass the ball off to Sierra there. Something happened out there strange, and I mean that's what Pinero's looking at. Something happened. I don't know exactly, because it looked like he was going to be able to hold him maybe to a double.
I thought he reached out for a bare hand.
Yeah. Well, fastball up and over the plate, and here's Cameron. No, he just didn't get it, and neither could Sierra. I thought he was trying to pass it off to Sierra, but you could see he tried to barehand it. He could not get there. I guess I should have had my glasses on. I can't see that far away.
Well, that's why, Joe, instead of looking, I mean, you got a great seat and everything.
Yeah.
That's why you should
look at the monitor.
You should watch ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Oh, watch the monitor.
Because we take you right there. When a play like that happens, you're right there like you're in the outfield. Here is Adam Kennedy.
I'm still a guy that just loves live action. I'm watching this, I'm watching. Yeah, well, that's what I need. I need my glasses.
All right, now here's the view we get from our booth. This is the view that Joe was.
Well, just so people won't think I'm completely blind. See, it happened way out here someplace.
Yeah. Way out there, but not if you were watching Sunday Night Baseball. You call it watching a monitor, Joe. I'm just saying, watch Sunday Night Baseball.
Oh, okay.
See, there you go. Kennedy, the hitter. See, I learned this years ago. Kennedy got a single his last time and scored a run. 5-3, the Mariners lead. Scott Spezio hitting a 2-out triple here. Earlier, he hit a double. Now, the Angels, you talk about clutch hitting. They have been in a class all by themselves. The team batting average in a spot like this with a runner in scoring position is .307. Adam Kennedy only .257, however. That fastball is in there.
I think he had to let him swing 3-0. He may not have wanted that pitch to hit, but I think you have to because the right-handed hitting Jose Molina is up next, and I think Kennedy's one of their best hitters.
There's Molina, who's had 2 hits tonight against Pineiro. The only hits by a right-handed hitter that the Angels have. That ball is hit down the right field line, and a fair ball, and it hops up into the crowd for an automatic double. Kennedy gets the clutch 2-out hit. Spezio scores, and it's a 1-run game again. 5-4 Mariners.
And that's why you wanted to let him maybe hit 3-0, but make sure that he got an at-bat. Because Kennedy being a left-handed hitter, you wanted him to hit against Pineiro because, again, right-handers have more problems with him.
Angels do have 5 lefties in their order tonight. And the only righter to get a hit against him is coming up now, Molina.
Well, they threw him a 3-1 fastball, and Kennedy rips it down the right field line, and it bounces into the seats.
Pitching coach Brian Price out to the mound now to talk to Pineiro as Kennedy stands at second base. He is the possible tying run. The Mariners have Price out there. The plate umpire Randazzo comes out to hurry him along. They may be stalling for time here too. Jeff Nelson has just gotten up to start throwing in the Seattle bullpen. Now the Angels, when you think of the Angels, you think of guys like Erstad, Salmon, Anderson, Gloss, the big guys. But most of the trouble tonight for Pineiro has come from the bottom of the order. Spezio, Kennedy, Molina, the 7, 8, 9 hitters. Those 3 have 6 hits in 8 at-bats. And here's a guy Molina 2 for 2. He singled home a run in the third. And he got another base hit in the fifth inning on a tough slider that he pushed through the right side of the infield. A base hit here could tie the game. Jose Molina playing in place of his injured brother Benji. Hit sharply but right to Brett Boone, and just like that the inning is over. So now we head into the late innings. 5-4, the Mariners holding a short lead. Ichiro coming up second when we come back. Sunday night baseball from Anaheim. We got a good one going here. Mariners 5, Angels 4. And there's a pop foul off the bat of Desi Relaford, the 9th place hitter, leading off for Seattle against Jarrod Washburn. Washburn giving up 5 runs and 8 hits to the Seattle club. Now, he gave up 4 runs in the 4th inning alone, Joe. And in his last 4 starts before tonight, he had allowed only 3 runs combined in 4 games. I mean, this guy is the hottest pitcher around. 11 consecutive wins. No losses since April 13th, but he's behind here 5-4, carrying his team into the 7th. Ichiro is on deck. Relaford slams it foul down the left field line. The Anaheim bullpen now is busy, along with the Seattle bullpen. Washburn at 100 pitches for the night. He threw 126 pitches in his last start. That's the most he's thrown in any game this year. And a hard slider low and inside to Relaford, who was grounded out and flied out. Well, you know, there's Ichiro on deck. Joe, everywhere we go, we always talk to people who are regular viewers to Sunday Night Baseball. I saw Don Newcomb, Dodger Stadium this weekend. He never misses a game. And Barry Bonds' dad, the former great slugger Bobby Bonds, apparently is watching tonight, and he had surgery recently.
Yeah, he just called me on the phone, let me know that he was doing pretty well and everything was going well in his recovery. And of course, we were concerned.
We'll send along all of our thoughts, our best wishes to Bobby Bonds. I mean, it's just almost impossible to imagine Bobby having anything go wrong.
You're right, because he stayed in such great shape. He looks like he could still walk out on the field and play.
2-2 the count. That's the third loss. And Relaford is retired, 1 away. Ichiro coming up. Jim Colborn was also the pitching coach for the Oryx Blue Wave in Japan, where Ichiro used to play. He told us about a conversation he had with Ichiro before this season started.
He's even more amazing than I thought. To see him in this environment and excel just like he was doing there. In fact, I saw him in Seattle and said, you know, the second year is going to be a little different because they'll be focusing on you and you alone. He says, I know. It's just like Japan. So I'm not, when I heard him say that, I'm not expecting to see much of a drop-off.
And that's pretty good conversation there, the fact he says, I know. Well, that's a good point, because he knows that he knew that at the beginning of the season he was going to have to make some adjustments. But look at that. I mean, I think they're having to adjust to him more than he's having to adjust to them. But I mean, he said just like in Japan, they were concentrating on him there as well. Maybe even more so there.
Well, he won 7 straight batting titles in Japan. He was the best hitter in all of the Japanese leagues. And now they're not many better in the major leagues than Ichiro. 2-2 the count. He tonight has struck out, fly deep to center, and he got an infield hit in the 5th inning, his 38th infield hit of the year. Hit sharply. Eckstein hurried and got it.
You know what was interesting there? The ball was hit toward Eckstein. You could see him preparing himself to catch it and get rid of it very quickly. But that's what happens when you have a guy like Ichiro running. Now watch in the background, watch Eckstein. Look at this. He's already ready to fire. I mean, he wants to get rid of it. He knows he doesn't have a lot of time. But that's good infield play. You prepare yourself before the ball gets there, and so you can get rid of it. You don't wait till it gets there and then try to hurry.
Well, Washburn's done a pretty good job with Ichiro tonight. An off-speed breaking ball. Cirillo got fooled, went around with it, strike 1.
Well, you can see he's looking for a fastball, and he thought it was a fastball, and he went out after it. And that's all Washburn has to do is mix in a few off-speed pitches at the beginning of the at-bat. He started Ichiro off with a breaking ball as well.
Just off the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brendan Donnelly heating up in the bullpen. Ichiro, who always takes care of his bat. You know, he goes in after innings and makes sure that it's clean and taken care of. If it has some dirt on it or some grass or whatever.
Well, how did we get one up here?
He cleans it off.
Well, how did I get this one?
That's from the manufacturer.
Oh, okay.
It's a promotional.
Well, remember, look at that. That's only 1 inch. That's how much hitting surface he has. You got a round ball, a round bat. You got to hit it square. Look at that. He has such a small barrel in his bat. It's amazing.
So, well, Ichiro, when he talks about his best, he says to become a better player, you have to take care of your equipment. The same thing applies to a chef and his knives. You're a professional. You respect the tools you use to earn money.
He's a philosopher too, huh?
Well, he does the job. He doesn't have a clubhouse kid do it. That's what we just saw. I mean, he gets in there, inspects the bat. If there's a little dirt or whatever, he cleans it off. He nurtures the bat.
I wonder if he has a bat scale with him to weigh them after they take them out of the humidor.
Edgar Martinez has one.
Well, see, that's good. I mean, after you take them out of the humidor, make sure they haven't gained any more weight. They're exactly what you want.
Foul ball right back beneath us. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, one of the things I've noticed, I talk to a lot of hitters now, and it used to be 34.5-inch, 32-ounce bat was kind of standard. Now it's 34.5-inch, 31.5 ounces. I talked to Jason Giambi. He used 31.5 ounces. A lot of guys are that half ounce.
What is that? It makes them quicker?
Yeah, I guess it makes them quicker. Not only that, I guess it gives them a different feel. But you know, and I guess you take, everyone has these bat scales, because when you get the bats from the factory, they're not always perfect. You ask for 31.5, you may get one that's 30, and you may get one that's 32.
Well, that's what Edgar does. When he gets the bats from the bat company, he weighs them, and then he writes his own figures on the knob.
And that's what you have to do, because again, they're not perfect when you get them. And this is, see this circle here? What that's for is you can get a heavier bat, take the cup, they call them a cup. You make the cup at the bottom, and that makes the bat lighter with better wood. That's what you do, and that's what Ichiro has here as well. See, you can take a heavier bat, you take that out, and it makes it feel lighter, but it gives you the same wood that you would have in a heavier bat.
Cirillo out to the shortstop Eckstein, and the Mariners go down in order. When we come back, Joe Morgan will compare Tim Salmon's swing from this year to last year when he was in a terrible slump. He's coming up third. Eckstein, Erstad, and Salmon.
Dave Revson in our SportsCenter in-game studios. Giants and Dodgers. Eric Karros, the liner to right. Reggie Sanders, it hits him in the head. And that set the Dodgers up for Adrian Beltre. With the game tied at 3 right here. A little grounder that stays in the infield, but scores a run. That makes it 4-3 Dodgers. They've scored 4 in the 6th. That's the score right now, guys.
All right, so a lot of action up there in L.A. all of a sudden. The Giants 3 in the 6th, the Dodgers 4 in the 6th. Here, the Mariners have gone to their bullpen, and there is Jeff Nelson, the veteran reliever. Nelson had a little arthroscopic surgery earlier this year. Get the elbow cleaned out. He's only been in 18 games. But when he's right, he's one of the best right-handed setup men in the game.
And that's why their bullpen was so dominant in the past. They had...
Well, he hits David Eckstein.
That's the wrong guy to throw it off the plate inside. And he didn't really move. He just took, as you mentioned, he's been getting hit by pitches all season.
16th time.
But watch, it looks like it's a breaking ball. And he just stays there and he lets it hit him on his left elbow. But like you say, he doesn't even have a pad there.
He had hit 21 times last year as a rookie, a record number of times to be hit by a rookie. So Eckstein is aboard. That was what he was up there to do, somehow get on base. He has stolen 15 times this year. Here is Erstad. 5-4, the Mariners on top. Now last year, pretty good formula for them was to get the lead early and then let the bullpen carry it on in from there. Erstad 0 for 3. 1 ball and no strikes.
Pretty good move there by Jeff Nelson. He kind of quickened his delivery to the plate to keep Eckstein from stealing a base. But I think you'll see if they get the count right, they'll probably hit and run here.
Erstad has only faced Jeff Nelson 3 times. 2 hits, 3 at bats. Erstad came into the game hitting .300. 5-4. The Mariners are leading. And it's too low now. Nelson usually comes in when you've got a few right-handed hitters lined up. I mean, he's more of a specialist at getting those righties out than the lefties. Here's a right-handed hitter, Salmon on deck. 2 of the first 3 hitters in this inning are right-handed. He's hit Eckstein, now facing the lefty. That's a called strike.
Well, the problem you have trying to match up against the Angels, they have a good lineup. They have a right-hander, left-hander, right-handed, left-hander, right-handed, left-handed. You're going down to the top 6 of their order. So it's hard for you to match up that way. Just say I'm going to bring a right-hander in for 3 right-handers, or a left-hander in for 3 left-handers. The ideal lineup is set that way, where you alternate right-handers and left-handers. That keeps the opposing manager from having his bullpen set up to dominate you down the stretch.
Even when you get to the 7th spot, Scott Spezio's a switch hitter.
Right. So, and that's what's important. I mean, that's why if you're looking for an ideal lineup, you do that. Normally you start off with a left-hander because leadoff hitters are better served being left-handed.
There goes the runner. Will a hit and run action, and that goes through. And Eckstein will head for 3rd and make it easily. Erstad lunged down for it, did not hit it hard, and somehow found a hole.
Well, to be honest with you, John, you should have known this was going to happen. You know, as I said, when they get the count in their favor, you're going to expect a hit and run. Well, 2-1's a perfect hit and run situation. And a good job by Erstad. That ball's way off the plate, but all he has to do is get it to the left side in the infield because the shortstop, Desi Relaford, went over to cover. And he just gets it out of the reach of Cirillo, so now it's a base hit. Good job by Eckstein to get all around the 3rd base. So, I mean, you just knew that it was going to happen. And you know, how do you defense it? Well, you don't have the shortstop covering that situation. Make sure that the ball's going to be a sinker away and the shortstop doesn't cover, the second baseman covers.
So now Tim Salmon 0 for 2 and has been hit by a pitch. We just need to get that runner home from 3rd to tie the game here. We're in the 7th inning. 5-4 Seattle. Joel Pineiro went the first 6 innings, charged with 4 runs and 8 hits while he was in there. Right now, this is Nelson's game one way or the other. The Seattle bullpen is quiet. It's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tim Salmon has faced Nelson 15 times in his career, and for a right-handed hitter, has done pretty well against him. 4 hits, 15 at bats, including a home run. Crowd getting into it now. That sinker low, 2-1. Now they exchange a run here to get the double play. But these hitters up, I mean, you got Sam and Anderson, Gloss, all of the biggest run producers that the Angels can send up there. The Mariners are interested in minimizing the damage. Going back is Cameron. All the way back to the wall, jumps up and makes the catch. That will get the tying run home, though. Eckstein scores.
Well, good job by Salmon to make sure he gets the ball into the outfield. Because actually all he had to do was make sure he put it in play, because the ground ball, as you mentioned, double play would have gotten the run home as well. But a good job by Salmon. Fastball moving away from him. He doesn't try to pull it. Look at him, he just goes out there with it. And a nice play by Cameron. This was not an easy play. He's timing. He knows he's going to be able to catch it. He gets back to the wall, kind of jumps up and makes the catch.
63rd RBI of the year for Tim Salmon. Erstad, the possible go-ahead run, is still at first base. Now Erstad has 15 steals this year and has only been thrown out twice. Garrett Anderson, the hitter. The Angels' leading RBI man. He's driven in 75 runs. Tonight is 1 for 3. Struck out, doubled, and grounded out.
Well, it looked like Anderson was taking that pitch as if he thought Erstad was going to try to steal. But you've got a big hole on the right side. Go ahead and hit. And if you get the ball through the hole, Erstad will definitely be able to go to third base.
Sinker down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, Anderson is, or at the start of the day, is tied for 4th in the American League in RBIs. So he is an outstanding RBI man. He's never had a hit against Nelson, though. Ball and a strike. 1-2.
The reason that was such a good pitch is the first fastball he threw him was pretty much a straight fastball on the inside corner. That was a pitch that was moving away from him.
One ball, 2 strikes. A run is home. It's tied at 5. That's down the right field line. A base hit. Erstad running well. Racing to third. He's been heading home. And he scores, and the Angels have gone ahead.
Well, that shows you what speed will do for you. I mean, that ball, that was not a routine double that he could score on from first base, but Erstad ran the bases well, and he was able to score. But again, good hitting by Garrett Anderson. Fastball was moved back over the plate. It was supposed to be away, but it cut back in, and you can look at this. Look how shallow he cuts the bases. Now watch this. This is good, excellent base running technique right here. Look at this. He doesn't run way out here. Watch how he cuts the base right there. I mean, that's good base running by Erstad. And good hitting by Garrett Anderson.
So Anderson's double, and Erstad scores all the way from first. And now here is Gloss, one of last night's heroes. Last night, the Mariners had a 5-1 lead at one point and lost the game. Tonight they led at one point 4-1, and now they are trailing here in the 7th inning. 6-5 Angels, and the Angels, they want more. And now that Mariner bullpen does get busy. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. In the bullpen, that is Brian Fitzgerald, the lefty going. I mean, their bullpen has been roughed up in this series. Pineiro got a tired group out there. The Angels bullpen is also working right now. Slider, and Gloss fouls it. Came up, hit him on the leg. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Garrett Anderson, what a series. I mean, what a year he's having, number 1. And what a weekend here. This big weekend for the Angels. The team that nobody knows. I mean, and they know that. You know, they're overshadowed in their own area by the Dodgers and around the country. I mean, who knows the Angels? And the Mariners have roughed them up. 12 straight wins in this ballpark, the Angels' home ballpark, coming into this weekend. But the Angels now trying to sweep this series. And the fastball, and Gloss can't get it. Strike 3. Out number 2.
But when you're a right-handed hitter, you're always aware of that breaking ball from Jeff Nelson. So what does he do? He throws a fastball, and Gloss is late on it.
Gloss 0 for 4 tonight. Couple of strikeouts.
That was a tough pitch. Again, you're right-handed. You're looking breaking ball with 2 strikes because that's his best pitch normally. You shouldn't be, but I mean, in the back of your mind, you're still protecting against the breaking ball.
Here's Brad Fulmer. He is flied out to right, singled home a run, and struck out. He started the comeback. It was 4-1 in the 4th inning and 2 down. He got the clutch 2-out RBI hit to bring Anderson home. And they've been scoring ever since. They have scored in each of the last 5 innings. 1 in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 2 here in the 7th. Mariners got 4 of their runs in the 4th inning. 1-1 the count. Olerud comes down the line and takes it. But 2 runs for the Angels. And now it is the Mariners that have to come from behind. And Washburn, with 11 straight wins, is the pitcher of record. He could win this one. Brett Boone coming up.
The ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week, presented by Nextel. Nextel, how business gets done.
Now to the 8th inning from Edison Field in Anaheim. 34,945, the official paid crowd. 121,000 plus for the 3-game series here. And here's Brett Boone against the reliever, Brendan Donnelly. And a swing and a miss on that slider. It is 0-1. Donnelly, a 31-year-old right-hander, a long-time minor leaguer. And this guy, Joe, has made a lot of stops. A Crash Davis kind of a story. 1 strike to count. Fastball up and in. He got a little pop on that fastball. And Mike Scioscia says, hey, a career minor leaguer who has really given the Angels a lift. I mean, their bullpen has been beleaguered. 2 of their top relievers have been on the disabled list. Troy Percival, their great closer, is still out. 1-2 now to Boone, who is 2 for 2 with a walk in this game.
Well, I watched him pitch earlier this year. I did a Wednesday game here, and I was shocked at how well he threw the ball, you know, for being a career minor leaguer. I'm saying, how did he stay there so long? Because he knows how to pitch. That was what I came away with.
Look out.
And like you said, he's got a little giddy up on the fastball there. And he's got a good little slider. Well, this is a fastball. He tries to overthrow it.
2-2 the count.
There's the slider.
That's just foul. And I think Boone broke his back. So he'll have to get a new piece of wood. Jeff Nelson, after the inning ended, went back to the dugout. Rather disgusted. Jarrod Washburn, meanwhile. And they owe him one. He'd been winning and pitching real well. Tonight, they gave up 5 runs, and the offense came in and put him in a spot where he could win another one.
Well, the key to being a good starting pitcher is you always give your team a chance to win. Sometimes that means you have to shut the other team out. Other times you may be able to give up 3 or 4 runs and still keep them in the ball game.
Edgar Martinez on deck. Brett Boone trying to get the Mariners going here. Down by a run. He struck him out.
So that's what I say about, you know, he knows how to pitch. You know, he threw a couple of fastballs inside, threw a slider away. Boone breaks his bat, so Boone's looking slider again. So what does he do? He comes back with a fastball inside. Look at this. And Boone can't catch up with it. That's smart pitching right there. Watch it. He's late on this fastball because he's waiting, and you see it's by him. So that's, he set him up perfectly with that 1 slider away. He threw him 2 sliders in the at bat, but the last one set up the fastball inside.
Now Edgar Martinez. On the right field line. Salmon in. Spezio out. This time Spezio gets out of the way, but Salmon, shying away from that wall, couldn't quite get to it.
And that's a tougher play than it appears. You run that far, and your momentum might take you right into that wall, and you definitely do not want to hit the wall because that wall is not going to move. So you just try to make the play and protect yourself as well. He's a little disappointed, but that's not an easy play.
1 strike to count to Edgar Martinez. Edgar has flied out to center. Singled home a run and scored a run in that 4-run 4th inning, and he's flied out to shallow right. Slider down and away. Throws a hard slider.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, what he does well is he shows you both pitches. Now it makes you figure out which one he's going to get you out with. And that's, again, what I gained from watching him pitch, you know, when I was here a couple of Wednesdays ago. See, you have to figure out what he's going to get you out with. It's going to be hard. It's going to be the fastball running in or the slider trying to run away, and you have to figure it out.
1-2 the count. Donnelly in his 12th game. Before tonight, 13 in the third innings pitch, 14 strikeouts. And that count is rising. He strikes out first Boone, and now Edgar. 2 down.
Well, after 2 strikes, he came inside with a fastball to Boone to strike him out. With 2 strikes there, he throws a fastball away to Edgar.
Now you've got the left-handed hitter Olerud coming up as the possible tying run, and Scott Schoenweiss, the only left-hander in Mike Scioscia's bullpen, is going to get the call. He'll be back. Now the only left-hander in Mike Scioscia's bullpen, Scott Schoenweiss, comes on to get John Olerud out with 2 down here in the 8th inning. He used Schoenweiss the same way last night in the 9th inning with a 1-run lead, and Olerud battled him as he always does. 6 pitches, but he finally got him to ground out the first and then was taken out of the game. Ben Weber came on in relief. So here is Olerud, 2 for 3. He's got a double and a homer and 2 RBIs tonight. 0-1 the count. Adam Kennedy out there in right field. Olerud hits a foul and quickly is behind in the count. 0-2.
Well, he's almost playing as deep as they play for Barry Bonds, but Olerud doesn't run as well.
SportsCenter comes up right after the game. Dan Patrick and Stuart Scott standing by with the day in sports. Great day in baseball. Red Sox Yankees have another wild one at Yankee Stadium. And the good hands there by Spezio, and he needed him and got a tough hop. Donnelly and Schoenweiss get him through the 8th. Now to the last of the 8th. Spezio coming up. 6-5 Angels.
Dave Revson in our SportsCenter in-game studios. Giants and Dodgers, big one in the NL West. 4-3 LA, top of the 8th. Reggie Sanders, though, taking care of that. His 2nd homer of the night, 14th on the year, makes it a 4-4 game. John and Joe.
Well, we've got some pennant race action going in baseball right now. And Jeff Nelson hits Scott Spezio with the first pitch here in the 8th inning. Spezio, who got the game-winning home run last night in the 8th inning, tonight has hit a double and a triple and scored 2 runs. I mean, the Angels have been inspired this weekend against the Mariners.
Fastball chases in, and Spezio not able to get out of the way.
And now Adam Kennedy. Well, Friday night, Freddie Garcia, the Mariners starter, lasted only 4 2/3 innings. And the bullpen had to go the rest of the way. And last night, Ryan Franklin, the starter, went 5 innings, and the bullpen had to go the rest of the way. So that bullpen is a little beleaguered right now for the Mariners. 7-8 hitters, 7-8-9 hitters. Spezio, Kennedy, Molina. They've been the wrecking crew tonight for the Angels. Kennedy hits a foul. Spezio, as we mentioned, a double and a triple. Kennedy has a single and a double and an RBI. And Molina's had 2 singles and an RBI. Not just getting hits, but productive hits. The 3 guys have scored 3 runs and had 2 RBIs. So they've had a hand in 5 of the 6 runs produced by the Angels tonight. Here's Molina on deck. What do you think, Joe? I mean, Spezio's not a particularly fast run. A little hit and run action. What do you think?
I don't think they'll do it in this situation.
He's running.
There he goes.
No swing, and he steals it.
Well, that's why I didn't think they would hit and run, because Nelson's been a little erratic right here, and you're better off just stealing the base on him because he doesn't have that good a move at first base. And besides, you're better off let him steal the bag, and then if you want to bunt, or then you pull the ball to the right side, you get another runner over at third base with less than 2 outs. And you see the big kick by Nelson allows you to steal the bag. And it was interesting because he was doing a version of the slide step in the last inning when Erstad was at first base.
I mean, he was halfway to second before Nelson released the pitch.
Right. Well, he had the high leg kick.
Now look at the Mariners bullpen. Has been a disaster. 7+ innings in this series and 16 earned runs allowed. Wow.
And I just think Lou went out to remind him. He got upset, I think, because he did go to the high leg kick, and that's what allowed Spezio to steal the base.
Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Take part in Major League Baseball history. Vote for your most memorable moment at every Major League ballpark or on MLB.com. Here's ball two. They introduced those moments at the All-Star game. Adam Kennedy, 2 balls, 1 strike to count. His job, get that man. Spezio, number 23, over to third base. At least get him over to third base. Oh, just foul. Well, he almost did a lot more than just get him to third base.
Well, he made sure he pulled the ball, which is the important thing.
Turns out he hadn't done anything, though, at this point. Almost. The view from the Goodyear Blimp Eagle, which has been providing these aerial pictures tonight. 2002 marks the 104th anniversary of Goodyear and the 77th for their blimp fleet. And that's the scene down here at Edison Field. A runner at second base, nobody out. Wow. Kennedy is just focused on hitting the ball to the right side no matter where it's pitched.
Well, he's just protecting there because that pitch was up and away, and he just lucky he spoiled it.
Based on what I just saw there, Joe, if they pitched out, he'd be able to spoil it.
Well, the one thing, if he hits that ball, he's going to pop it up anyway.
Well, if you're Nelson, you just saw him swing there. Would you go back up again?
No, I think you're going to go down and in.
Tries to backdoor him with a slider. 3-2. Molina on deck.
It's a tough pitch for Nelson to have to throw. Do not want to walk him, but you do not want to give him anything that he can pull to the right side. I thought he could go down and in and maybe strike him out, but I don't think that's available at this point. Well, he did. That's the pitch I thought he would throw 2 and 2. Something down and in. Try to get him out in front of it.
Still 3-2 to Kennedy. I mean, in a way, Nelson is still trying to find himself.
Right, correct.
It's not the same Jeff Nelson we're used to seeing. Nelson coming back from surgery.
This is interesting here. The third base coach is coming down to talk to Adam Kennedy. The count's 3 balls, 2 strikes. What are you going to do?
Ron Renicky, the third base coach. He goes back to his coaching lines. I think that rule should be changed, Joe. The coach can't just run out on the basketball floor in the middle of a play and say, oh, come here for a second. I think you missed my sign for the play I want to run. Right?
True.
If the guy doesn't get the sign from third base coach, well, then your team's just not going to be good. Foul ball back out of play. That's just a little aside in the middle of a tight game.
Right. I would just wonder what you can tell a hitter when it counts 3 balls and 2 strikes. He doesn't have a lot of choices.
Hang in there?
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice. Whatever, you have to deal with whatever the pitcher throws.
Be tough? How about that?
Unless Spezio's the guy he's got to help protect, but unless he figures he saw something in Nelson's motion.
Strike 3 call. Fastball down and in.
Yeah, see, I think that's the place you can strike him out, down and in. He barely got a piece of the breaking ball down and in last time. And the reason is, watch where he strikes. See where his front foot is? He goes out to get the ball. And when you do that, you're pretty vulnerable on that pitch down and in. He kind of locks his front leg when he steps forward, and he can't get back to that ball inside. The only thing he can do is pull it foul. Good job there by Nelson to keep him from pulling the ball to the right side and moving the runner over third.
Kennedy unable to get him over. Same thing happened back in the third inning after Spezio led off with a double. Pineiro got Kennedy. Meanwhile, Kennedy's had a single and a double and been involved in the comeback efforts. They lead right now 6-5, last of the 8th. Anaheim getting runners in scoring position. We told you they are uncanny as a team, of 307 team average with runner in scoring position. Molina's driven in one of those runs tonight with a base hit, and that one is grabbed by Relaford. Not in time, not nearly in time. He took a big gamble even making that throw. An infield hit for Molina with Spezio having to stop at third.
I'm sure he only made the throw because a catcher was running, because he really didn't have much of a chance to throw him out, but he figured I might as well take a shot with the catcher running. But Molina got down the line.
Well, he saved a run by getting to that ball.
Off-balance throw. And a good job by Olerud to come off the bag and make sure he gets the right hop and knocks it down.
So now the leadoff man, Eckstein, coming up. Desi Relaford, at least for the moment, has saved a run, keeping that ball in the infield.
Well, they're playing the infield in and trying to, not going for the double play, but they're going to play in a position, I believe, that if there's a one hopper to shortstop, they can flip the second because Boone could cover and they could turn the double play, but it has to be a one hopper, and I think I see Boone talking to Relaford about that. I don't think they can go the other way, though. They can't go from Boone to Relaford.
So Boone is in, but shaded well over towards second.
Right, so he can get to second base in case the ball is hit a one hopper right here, then Boone can get to second and turn the double play.
You see Relaford in, but
he's too far away.
Much further away from second base than is Boone. Eckstein 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt, and he was hit by a pitch. They pitch out here, thinking that something might be up.
Well, they were looking for the squeeze. They're trying to protect against the squeeze. And the one thing that you know from Mike Scioscia is that he will squeeze, he will hit and run, he'll do all those things, and that does put a little extra pressure on the defense. I mean, I knew that he was going to hit and run a couple of hitters ago, but how do you defense it? You have to either pitch out or you have to make sure the other guy's covering. There they thought he was going to squeeze.
Ooh, look out. Scott Spezio had to have the quick reactions that time. He did the Texas two-step to avoid being struck by that one. Eckstein with a little smile on his face. Ben Weber up in the bullpen for the Angels. He was the closer last night. He's been the closer a couple of times in the absence of Troy Percival.
But this is one of those situations where if you're going to squeeze, maybe this is the time to do it. He wanted him to take a shot 2-0 because he knew he was going to get a fastball. And if you're Lou Piniella, you know this is also a good time.
Oh, and right, I think under his chin.
Well, he was trying to make sure that if there was a squeeze on, they were going to get the guy. And a lot of guys, people think you pitch out on a squeeze like that, but no, you go and make sure that the hitter can't bunt the ball. So you come in. I mean, he can't bunt that. If the ball's across the plate, we've seen guys reach out and make contact, but you're not going to make contact when that ball is starting at you.
That's Spezio at third. The Angels already ahead 6-5, last of the 8, trying to lengthen that lead. Boone knocks it down, doesn't know where it is, recovers, gets the one out as Spezio scores. Molina over to second, and it is 7-5 Angels.
Well, good job of hitting there by Eckstein. And almost a great play by Brett Boone, because I think that Boone was still thinking second base, and he was going to try to go that way. Now watch, I think he's taking second base. Watch when he catches the ball in his spin right there. See, he's looking at second. He's trying to go to second, but he doesn't have control of the ball. I think they were actually going to try to turn it at second base because Relaford did get over there.
He was surprised when he got up, went into his glove, and the ball wasn't there. Nice play by Dan Wilson, chasing Tim Salmon out of that on-deck circle and making the catch to retire Erstad. But the Angels add an extra run. To the ninth inning we go, 7-5 Angels.
Time, no quarters, no clocks, no halftime. We're going now. Unbelievable.
Mariners, Angels, serious business.
And he is out. Chuck D with our Sunday night theme song. And they are hoping for the sweep, and they just might get it, even though they've been doing it the hard way. They came from a 5-1 deficit last night and defeated the Mariners, and they were down 4-1 at one point tonight. And now they are leading the Mariners into the ninth, but not with Troy Percival coming in. He is on the disabled list. So Ben Weber, we saw Brendan Donnelly, longtime minor leaguer who made a lot of stops, 7 different organizations. Well, here's Ben Weber, also many years in the minor leagues, 2 years in the Taiwanese leagues. But he pitched for Taipei. He's had a couple of saves this week. And he starts Ruben Sierra with ball 1 off the outside. Weber got the save here last night and threw only 8 pitches to do it.
Well, he's got a lot of movement in his hands trying to distract the hitter. I mean, he's got a little motion that you got to make sure you do not get distracted by the glove.
Weber has picked up 2 saves this week in the absence of Percival. But now he's 3-0 to Sierra. Sierra tonight is flied out to left center, struck out and flied out deep to left center. And a 4-pitch walk to Sierra. Now, last year, the Mariners, I mean, the game was just never over. I mean, how many times did we see the Mariners mount rallies in the 9th inning of games that looked like they were lost? They must have had more of those kind of 9th innings than any other team. I remember sitting with Bob Boone, the manager of the Reds. We were at a place near Riverfront Stadium after a Reds game last year, and the Mariner game was on TV. Got to the 9th inning. He says, they're down by 3, but they'll win. It's crazy. They always do something happens, and they win, and they think they're going to mount a rally and win. Well, that was last year.
Exactly. That part of it is confidence.
Meanwhile, they're in the top of the 9th, up the road at Dodger Stadium. Chavez Ravine, Giants 4, Dodgers 4. And a foul out of play. A big day in baseball. I mean, some big rivalries going on this weekend. The Yankees and the Red Sox at Yankee Stadium, the Giants and the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. And here, the Angels, a new entrant this year, a team that not many thought would challenge, but here they are, 3 outs away from moving to within 1 game in the West. Eckstein has it, the second one, Kennedy to first, 2. They double up Cameron with all of his speed, and just like that, 2 down and nobody on.
Great play by Eckstein. I mean, he came to get the ball. That's one thing to remember as an infielder. Always come to get the ball on the double play. Don't wait for it. He comes, gets it, flips to second base. That makes it an easy play for Kennedy. And you see they even get Cameron by a long, big margin at first base. But play was made by Eckstein. He came and got the ball.
So now Carlos Guillen pitch hitting for Wilson. The fans on their feet. Some have brought their brooms looking for the sweep. The Mariners, who were invincible last year and were 12-0 their last 12 games in this ballpark before this weekend. The Angels just hoping to hold their own over the weekend, and now they are 1 out away from sweeping the Mariners here.
Well, there was always doubt about the Angels and even the A's until they would play Seattle. I mean, you have to be able to beat Seattle or you're not going to be able to catch them. And neither the A's nor the Angels have been able to beat Seattle early in the year. Now they're showing them that they can play with them.
1 strike away. Two and 2. 1 strike away from the sweep. They had lost 6 of their first 7 games to the Mariners this year. And Seattle had won 4 in a row in this ballpark earlier this year. The fans shouting sweep with each pitch. But now it is 3 and 2.
And to quote Yogi Berra, it's never over till it's over. It's definitely not over yet.
Ben Weber.
Last thing you want to do is bring the tying run to the plate.
Jesse Rutherford is on deck. And it's a walk.
Well, that's the second walk this inning. He was bailed out by a nicely turned double play by the middle infielders, but Now he walks another runner, and he brings the tying run to the plate. And Rutherford hit a game-tying home run in last night's ball game.
Last night in the 8th inning against Shields, a rookie pitcher. There's Troy Percival in uniform rooting his teammates along, but he's on the disabled list. He will not be available until next weekend. Sports Center right after the game. They have all the highlights of all the big goings on in baseball today, including the latest from Dodger Stadium, where the Giants have just gone back ahead of the Dodgers in the 9th inning up there. Here's Rutherford. There goes the runner from first. They were not holding him. A strike called to Rutherford as Guillen is now at second base.
And a lot of people say, well, why is he still a base here? It doesn't mean anything. Well, it does mean something, because if he's at first base and a tough ground ball up the middle, they could get a force out at second. Now they have to throw all the way to first base.
1 strike to count. Strike 2. Now they're so close. 1 strike away again. But keep in mind, if Rutherford comes back here, on deck is Ichiro. Looks like Tom Goodwin hit a home run up there in L.A., the former Dodger. The Dodgers are paying most of his salary, and he beat them with a hit in the 12th inning Friday, and maybe again tonight. Here's the pitch, and it's fouled down the left field line. Rutherford hanging tough. 0-2. Lou Piniella thinks 95 wins is the magic number in the American League West this year. He thinks if you can win 95, you'll be right there. A far cry from the 116 of last year. But the Angels, the team that nobody knows, are thrusting themselves into the scene. And they have swept it. Weber gets the save again. The Angels clean the table against the Seattle Mariners. And they do it again tonight, coming from behind, as they did last night. And Washburn has won his 12th in a row.
Well, he pitched well enough to keep his team in the ball game. He got a lot of help from the bullpen, and that ends the ball game as Weber gets a save. And they've been able to save all the ball games without Troy Percival. Just think what's going to happen when he gets back. So this team has proven that they're for real, and it's going to be a dogfight all the way in the Western Division.
They split a series in Oakland, and they sweep this series in their toughest stretch of the season. The Angels are just a game out in the American League West. SportsCenter is next, and we'll see you next Sunday in St. Louis, the Cubs and Cardinals. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. Good night from Anaheim. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.